What is up? How we doing? It's been a minute, but I've been following the stuff you're doing, really proud of what you're doing. I mean the smalls and everything you got going on, small talk. I mean it's awesome. Let's see. Doesn't look like I can hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. There we go.
There we go. Okay, I'm getting used to my Yeti. It's like a new thing. So I'm learning. I don't know what the buttons do. So I just kind of like go with the flow. So I think this front button, I'm realizing I need to click at some point. Yeah, so I'm not really sure. I think that I have everything else set. It's a new, what I was saying was that everything is happening so fast, including learning how to use a mic.
I've been there. I mean, back in the old days of call recorder apps and, the crunchiness over the phone. And then I finally got a microphone and I'm like.
It's so funny. I was telling like someone the other day at FTN, I started out with a cracked iPad. Like that's how I was recording things.
Oh my!
And then eventually, I decided it was time to, upgrade to maybe a mic or something. And then now here I am with lights and a nice camera, and now I have my new mic. And there's an arm. I had to install the arm. Like it's a whole process now. Who knew?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's weird though. Like as you continue to go through this journey, I love this journey for you, by the way.
Yeah, it's.
But as you continue to go through this journey, you're going to experience different things where you're like, wait, I didn't know I could buy something like that. I didn't know that would make my life easier. Like I still am learning.
Who knew?
Like I learned there's all these new gadgets and stuff, and it's like, oh, I could do. Oh, okay, now things are like it like connects the dots, But we got a lot to discuss. I mean, the NFL draft's next week.
Can you believe it? I'm so excited.
It's pretty crazy, honestly. I mean, I want to say it's flown by, but let's be honest though, has it really? We've just been doing stuff. We've been keeping busy. I don't know if it's flown by.
I'm ready though. Yeah. Like I can't deal with it anymore. Twitter is getting, is now getting out of control to the point where it's like unbearable to be even on Twitter. So like I'm ready for us to, let's just get it over with, rip the Band-Aid off. Let everyone realize that they were wrong. And then we can move forward, like it's so funny that there's really only one draft pick that I think is very obvious. And it's the first one. And then past that, it's like, it's a crapshoot. It happens every single year where people get excited about one pick and then, you get your hearts broken and we move forward and see how the season goes.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, I know this is going to happen and it doesn't. And then they're quickly to be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to slide in there and delete that tweet there and that one. And oh, he's going to go there. I'll delete that. It's funny because you'll go back and someone will like one of your replies. And then when you go back and you see what you're replying to, it says it cannot be found or it's gone. And it's like, oh, okay, I see how it's going. But yeah, so we have the first overall pick. So let's just start from the second one, right? I mean, like we know who's going to go number one. It's going to be Trevor Lawrence. Then you look at the Jets, and apparently they're infatuated with Zach Wilson. What are your thoughts on him? Because I kind of know your thoughts, but I want to welcome your thoughts to the rest of the table.
So pretty Princess Wilson, who does not know how to make a Chipotle order, is like where we'll start. So that I'm very judgmental of. I think with Wilson, so I like to look at Wilson and Fields together. It's kind of like, I don't know why. It's just kind of how I've done my analysis. And I think that Fields still is more NFL ready than Wilson is. Is Wilson going to be a good quarterback in the NFL? Yeah, 100%. I don't doubt his ability at all. he's a little panicky for me. And I think that he is someone that would benefit actually from sitting on the bench and learning and getting coached a little bit more rather than getting thrown, in with the wolves. It makes me nervous. So we'll see how it goes. There's an argument that he didn't have that much competition in college. You can't really say that that's wrong. Even like the betting odds, it seems like Wilson is going to the New York Jets. Look at me talking about betting. It's like my new thing, guys. But like for real. So I think that it's like kind of a done deal over there. I think that, the third overall pick is where we start getting interesting. It seems like they want Wilson. This is a tale as old as time. I get a little deja vu from Mr. Sam Darnold, but he's in a better situation than Sam was going to the Jets. So he has the things that he needs to do well there. I just think that we'll see a little bit rockier of a start from him. I just don't see that NFL readiness the way that I see it from Fields.
And that's to be expected, when you have limited playing time. And we can go back, Mitch Trubisky, 1-year starter, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, I will say he kind of reminds me a little bit of Josh Allen. Obviously, he's not built like Josh Allen, but kind of the lack of competition, I guess. Not as much as Josh Allen at Wyoming, but, right. I would say. But I gotta say, I really feel like the Jets are missing out here because I think they have a golden opportunity to take either my QB1, Trey Lance, or my QB2, Justin Fields. I think they're both better. I think they project. I think their ceiling is the highest of the bunch, including Trevor Lawrence. I think people are really sleeping on Lance, and they're using that. Well, he played in Division I AA. It's like you did this same thing with Carson Wentz coming in. And to be honest with you, like I'm looking at the guy and I don't see anything that he's missing. You know what I mean? I think really the only thing he's missing is that he only got one game to play in 2020. It was like a showcase game, which it was like his worst game ever. But let's be real here. It was literally just a showcase game. It wasn't like the national title. He's proven at the Alabama of the FCS that he can play with the best of them. And, this is somebody that is taking snaps under center, despite what, these random narratives will go out there and say, no, he's more of a shotgun quarterback. Like, have you watched Trey Lance? Like, just curious. Are you just watching the highlights? Oh, they're not showing you when he snaps the ball. They're just showing you his throws. I gotcha. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's kind of put in that box where it's like, yeah, he's not a D1 athlete. I'm like, well, he is. And the 2 pro days would definitely say that. I mean, he can throw, but I mean, he can also run as well. So,
Right. And this is another, we see it every single year where it's like, first of all, you guys get the quarterbacks wrong every year. Like, to be honest, like that is like the worst, like besides for wide receivers, like everyone blows it quite literally every year. And while you were talking, I was trying to pull up like my notes on him and like, because I try to like stick with it. He is someone, but so all my complaints with, this is why I like Trey Lance, because all my complaints with Trey Lance are things that are fixable. He takes the sack too often. He's someone that, he is making the receivers maybe work a little too hard on the deep balls where he could be placing the ball a little bit better. These are all things that are coachable. I think it comes with, learning the NFL and learning that, okay, you don't have as much time to do your progressions. You need to do them a little bit quicker. But I think that's something that's coached. And I don't think it's something that should be getting as much negative feedback as it is. It's almost like people are knocking him immediately. And I think that's part of it, like Wentz, because of the school he's coming from. But you see this happen all the time where these guys go later on and then they end up being like Aaron Rodgers, So I don't think that he's someone that everyone should be sleeping on as much as they are, but I'm loving it, in startup dynasty leagues. I mean, I'm snagging him so late and I'm going to store him for a rainy day when he's going to end up blowing everyone out of the water.
No, I absolutely agree with you there. And then you look at Trey Lance, or not Trey Lance, Justin Fields, who literally plays at the Ohio State University. They were in the national title game. They're one of the most popular, teams out there, college programs. And it's like there's something about what Haskins and Troy Smith and Jason White and all of the quarterbacks before them. And it's like, it just leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. And to that, I'll say, don't scout the helmet, scout the player.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's too many people doing that where it's like, yeah, I like him, but he plays at Ohio State and Ohio State quarterbacks suck. And I'm like, but your rationale behind that is flawed in many reasons, but let's just stick with the main reason. Like, there's not even the same coach isn't even there. Like, Meyer's gone. It's Ryan Day. Like, you're not even, it's a completely different scenario now, And if you're going to go back to Troy Smith and Jason White, I mean, why don't you just do that with every prospect,
Right. It's so crazy. Like, and I don't know if, I think the media plays a huge part in it. And now like Twitter does as well, as, people catch on to these like very clickbaity stories or these clickbaity narratives. And then all of a sudden everyone decides that player sucks. Like, I promise you next season, like you're going to see how crazy Twitter is. And this is like my first experience with the off season on Twitter, because I just got into this community in like October. So I could have never imagined to be this insane. But it is. It's like half the stuff that people are saying, you're just assuming that things are the way that they are because you're hearing one narrative from another. And most of the times, like if you see someone in the media putting something out there, it's getting there because they want it to get there, right? Like the team wants you to get it there. You know, like that's why with the 49ers, I'm not buying that they're taking Mac Jones, and I don't care. Like no one can convince me. It feels smoke screeny. Like I want my hands off of that. I just don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind it, as you know.
No, I wouldn't mind it.
I think there's no way Kyle Shanahan, the way we've talked about him on here before, the way how highly regarded he is, there's no way that guy's sitting there and be like, yeah, Mac Jones over Justin Fields and Trey Lance, that's where I'm going to go. Like, there's just no way. I mean, if there is, then I maybe we're wrong on Kyle Shanahan. Maybe he's a great coach and schemer and game planner, but like as far as then I would honestly call into question his player evaluation, because this is the same guy that wanted Jimmy G, and look what he's done. You know what I mean? So I honestly I hate dogging a quarterback. Like I like Bama. A lot of people know that. And I appreciate what Mac Jones did for Bama. I like Mac Jones. I don't like Mac Jones at number 3 overall. I think that's the thing. And also he's my 6th quarterback. I actually had a higher grade on Davis Mills. So I would never take Mac Jones in the first. I see those guys, Davis Mills and Mac Jones, kind of similar. Honestly, Davis Mills fits that offense like a glove way more than Mac Jones does. I think he'd be perfect in that modified West Coast style offense. But Davis Mills is more of, I said, like a late 2nd, early 3rd. You'll hear it, like people will talk about it. Like we heard with Kyle Trask, like those rumors, like, oh, he could go in the 1st round, like early on. Like you're going to hear that. They're not going in the 1st round. Okay. Like a guy like Davis Mills is not going in the 1st round, but Davis Mills could go in the 2nd or the 3rd round. And that's kind of where I see Mac Jones. I mean, he had Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, and then your guy, who's literally the title, DeVonta Smith Isn't Too Small to Be a Star, featuring Stephie Smalls. Yeah, so, I mean, he had 4 number 1 receivers, okay? And then, oh, by the way, we're going to give you Najee Harris. In Josh Jacobs. You know what I mean? Like, he had plenty.
Right,
I don't know. Like, I think he's good, and I think he can be a good quarterback, but you draft a guy at number 3 overall, he better be like Matt Ryan, who was drafted number 3 overall, at least. And I don't know if he's that. So
yeah. And I think that uncertainty there is like, first of all, I don't think that's unwarranted. I think there has to be some kind of, nervousness when going about that. And especially if you're going to make those moves, you're going to go to 3rd. And like, I just feel like you need to be very confident in that. Yeah. I mean, like you need to pick the guy that you think is a franchise guy. Like to get where you have with Jimmy G, to get where you have with, wow, it's been a minute, with Mullins, like to get like
Better.
there. Like, I mean, like, go ahead and just get your damn guy. I mean, this is kind of, I feel the same way about the 49ers, the way I have about Washington. Like, what are you guys waiting for? You have all the weapons. You have a team that is equipped and ready to go. So go ahead and get your guy. So, you know what? And I think, I saw there was a tweet the other day, like, why does everyone think that whoever Shanahan like drafts is definitely going to be good? Because he will be successful. To be clear, like anyone that he takes will 125% be successful in some level. Is he your fantasy guy? No, probably not. But is he going to, on paper, be a good quarterback? Probably, because he's got the mind that is Shanahan. He's got the weapons around him. He's got the team that's ready to support him. So, yeah, there is something to that. I just am not totally buying that they made the moves that they did for Jones. I'm just not buying it. It's just not, I can't get behind it. It's not something I'm betting on. Like, we'll see how it goes. And if they do, great. I mean, I think Mac Jones will be a good quarterback. I don't know that he's going to reach a great level, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. And then number 4, that's a weird selection because I think Falcons fans at this point are in a weird spot. I went on a podcast, I Love Atlanta Sports, and it sounds to me like they want Sewell. And to be honest with you, Sewell's the best player in the draft, in my opinion. I know you and I disagree because you like
okay. I'm a Slater girl, I know. I'm crazy.
I have an astronomical grade on Sewell. And to me, I think a lot of teams do. And if you're sitting there at like with Atlanta and you're like, well, we're not going to pick a quarterback, then it's either Pitts or it's Sewell. And to me, as much as I like Pitts, I don't think Pitts is generational. We've seen a guy like that in Vernon Davis before. Did he end up being like a Hall of Fame player? No, he had his moments, but he did end up being a Hall of Famer. But that prospect, the level of prospect, this type of guy does come around. It's not like they're, unheard of. I mean, I remember the last time, like, OJ Howard came out and everyone lost their mind. Now look at OJ Howard. I mean, I don't even know if he's going to be with Tampa. We'll see. So, I'm not 100% sold on picking a tight end at number 4 overall. With Sewell, I don't think you can go wrong. I'm not a big fan of, I think McGarry. Yeah, Colton Miller. I always get them confused. McGarry and Miller. So Miller's in Vegas. And I didn't like the Caleb McGarry pick. I thought it was odd. They traded up with the Rams, like way up to go get McGarry.
Yeah, I forgot about that until you just said that. That's wild.
It was weird. And then they have, Jake Matthews. Like Jake Matthews was in the Greg Robinson 2014 draft.
Right.
So
and the Falcons, so it's interesting because I feel like the entire trajectory of this draft is going to be determined by pick 3, 4, and 5.
Yes.
The rest doesn't, like, those 3 picks are going to change everything. Like, seriously, because those 3 teams could go anywhere in this. Like, I don't know what they're going to do. If I'm the Falcons, I'm going to actually try to build from the trenches and start really fixing problems, right? Because if I'm the Falcons, you're not going to have a great season next year. I don't care who you pick up. I don't care what you do. You're not going to be good. You might do okay. I just don't know that you're going to do
probably okay.
Like that good. So you'll still be in a good position next year, right? Like you could wait to get your quarterback if you want. It's kind of a different scenario, like because they could kind of screw themselves here because they have the potential to do well and make another playoff run. And then what do? You have Fitz, and now when do you get your guy? Like now what? But I think that the Falcons, I could see them trading down, to be honest. I could see that being a thing. It depends how much they care about filling some spaces there. They could trade down easily and gain some capital and go from there. But also, like someone like, if they take like Trey Lance to sit behind Ryan and whatever, it kind of would be awesome. Then I think the Falcons are setting themselves up for a good position because I think that there is some tackle value later on in the draft.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think it's weird because they kind of see the thing. I wonder is if like Arthur Smith is looking at this from a standpoint like he's not coming in to rebuild or fix. He kind of looks at it like, well, I have Julio, I have Calvin Ridley, I have Russell Gage, I have Matt Ryan, who's been to a Super Bowl. We just got Mike Davis. We can draft another running back and have a nice tandem there. Then the offensive line, you have guys like Jake Matthews. You have Matt Hennessy, you drafted in the 3rd round in 2020. Chris Lidstrom, a 1st-round pick in 19. Caleb McGarry, I don't love the guy, but he's a 1st-round pick in 19. And then you have Hayden Hurst. They could go out and get another guy to have those, that dual tight end look. And then you look at the back end with the defense, and you have Grady Jarrett, you have Dante Fowler Jr. You have to hope bringing him back on a cheaper deal, he ends up playing at least a little bit like he did in LA. And then you have Deion Jones, Foy Alu Khan. And then you have some guys in the back. You're hoping for some good things out of your 1st-round pick last year in AJ Terrell. Isaiah Oliver is still somebody, a 2nd-rounder from 2018 who, you're hoping will do something. And then Jalen Hawkins is a guy I like a lot, 4th-round pick in 2020. And don't forget they added Fabian Moreau, who had a really good year last year. So they have like a winnable roster before the draft. So, with the thing that really makes this interesting and why I kind of feel like Arthur Smith is looking at this like a Tennessee Titans, because I feel like he can kind of take Matt Ryan. He looked like he was falling off last year. What if he brings Matt Ryan back to what Matt Ryan can be? They protect him. And then going into this draft, they go out and what if they get Kyle Pitts? Like, what if they get Sewell? And then all of a sudden, like the biggest issue I see on their depth chart, if you look at their depth chart, it's the fact that Jacob Tuwodi Mariner is a starting defensive end. Tyler Davison is starting at tackle. And their left guard is Willie Wright. Yeah. So, I mean, those are some big needs. But if you were to get Sewell, you could kick Caleb McGarry in at guard, and there you go. You have a really, really good looking offensive line. Just like if you, you grab Pitts, you put him with Hayden Hurst. That's a really nice tandem with Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage. And then you could also grab a quarterback, and then maybe you try to trade Matt Ryan or something like that. The problem is it's really hard to trade Matt Ryan. It was hard beforehand, and it's even harder now because of the restructure. So that's the thing, like where they could go multiple avenues. They're not picking a receiver. So I don't want to hear. I don't think they're going to.
I'm not entertaining. I can't even believe that anyone is entertaining the idea. That is like the most ridiculous. That actually is one of the most ridiculous. I think I have Falcons and Atlanta muted on Twitter because I think I started to get really annoyed because it was like the takes are just so irrational. Like, so I have a bunch of things like muted, and like that was, I think that is one of them because I haven't seen much about them on Twitter. So I'm assuming I haven't muted, but like stop entertaining dumb shit, right? Like that's dumb. Like it's not happening. And if anything, they'll go Kyle Pitts, where I think you do get that partial wide receiver aspect to it a little bit more than you get, because Kyle Pitts, his blocking's okay. I mean, he's very much more on the wide receiver spectrum than he is on like this blocking tight end spectrum. So I think that you maybe get a 2-for-1 there if that's really what they're looking for. But I think, if Sewell, that's a good placement for him. I think that you can. The difference, and this is what I was trying to say, is I think the difference between someone like Matt Ryan is like he still has. I think you can squeeze a couple, like 2 years out of him. I think you can do it. You just gotta
protect him.
You just gotta exactly. Unlike Big Ben, who is like decrepit on the field and like does not.
And they have nobody.
Yeah, like so that's ridiculous. Whereas like with Ryan, I feel like he doesn't have to do much because you have a roster that can win. It sucks that they were poor in free agency because they really could have used, like, I would have loved like Aaron Jones there, or like if they could have gotten one of these like running backs so they didn't have to address it. But again, like there's some late running back value as well that I think that you can make it work. They have a winnable roster. Like with the talent that they have there, they just got to protect the dude. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, I look at, if they were to go for running back, they don't have to go super early. You know, I mean, I absolutely love Trey Sermon, and I think there's some concern with his injuries. But if he stays healthy, he can be a legit starting running back in this league. And I think the thing with him that you like is because Mike Davis, you don't want to have multiple Mike Davises. You don't want to go and get a guy that's going to be that same size, does the same thing quicker than fast. You want to go out and get, you know, a bigger bell cow type of guy. And to me, that is Trey Sermon. There's other guys in this. Khalil Herbert would make sense. Guy's a bowling ball, very, very smooth runner. Ramondre Stevenson, guy's huge from Oklahoma. So former Oklahoma Sermon. And then you have Ramondre Stevenson, who was replacement.
I like Chuba Hubbard. I know everyone doesn't like him, but whatever.
Yeah, my biggest issue with him, and he's got great vision, but I swear, like, run through an arm tackle, my guy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
please.
no, I feel you. I feel you on that for sure. It's just like for him, it's like
immediately.
I started looking at film and I'm like, what's coachable and what's not coachable, and like that's where I feel like Chuba. But he's very much like, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but like he's very systematic. Like it's going to depend what system he ends up in.
No, I agree with you.
Because I think it is coachable. It's just like who's going to coach him. But Trey Sermon, what is it? Just a shoulder injury? Everyone, shut up. That's like not a like for that position. I literally don't care. I'm going to be honest. Like if he's on the line or like if he, you know, like that. Come on, guys. Is that really all it is? Is it a shoulder injury?
I think so. I know there's.
I haven't looked at it. For some reason that didn't come. I'm going to look it up right now because that's like if that's the bit you guys are really worried about a shoulder injury and a running back, he could continue playing with a shoulder injury, like if he wanted to.
look at how vital he was to their run. You know, I mean, everyone was like it was so annoying. They put in Master Teague, and the only thing I like about Master Teague is his name. I just think it's cool, but like. Come on, why are you taking this guy out? Like, I always say this and people think I'm crazy, but if you watch Trey Sermon on those big runs, the first 25 yards, he is college Todd Gurley. Like, he has that explosion. And then the thing that hurts him, he ran a 4.6. So all anybody was looking at is, oh, he ran a 4.6. He's slow. But hear me out when I say this. He had one of the fastest 10-yard splits of any running back. So that tells me he's explosive and doesn't have the long speed. I can live with that.
Other year have you guys been this obsessed with BMI and speed? Like all of a sudden you give a shit. Like all the past years, it's like you make excuses for someone and why they're not faster. But then this year it's like, oh, forget it.
Yep.
That's it.
You ran a 4.6. I'm done. Le'Veon Bell ran a 4.6. Oh my God.
He doesn't run a 4. He didn't run as fast as Ross. That's it. We got to go. Can't draft him. Like, just chill out. That's not even like situational. There's so many players that did not have good. Didn't Lamar Jackson not do well during his combine? Like, there's like so many players that like didn't do as well.
Well, I mean,
who is it? Who am I thinking of? Not Lamar. It's someone that I can't think of. We talked about it the other day in my pod, but like,
the biggest one for the 4.6 is Le'Veon Bell because this guy was all about patience. He and look, like when he was on like his A game with the Steelers. Did long speed ever really become a factor? Like, did it really matter? Did anyone really care? No, he was one of the best receiving backs in the league. He could do it all. I mean, Todd Gurley had that long speed. I'm not going to lie. It helps, but I think you have a guy like Sermon and Davis. That's a really nice tandem for the Atlanta Falcons. And there are other guys here too. Chris Evans, I thought tested very well. He's a little similar to Davis. I think he's a lot faster. Josh Johnson, sleeper from Louisiana Monroe. Jot that name down. I get kind of like Aaron Jones vibes from him. Going back to UTEP. And then there's another guy I really like. What's his name? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Jermar Jefferson, because he's got the best vision in the entire draft of any running back. Oregon State, 5'9", 215. Oh, by the way, did you notice like all these running backs this year, like they're all short and like, who cares, right? Who cares? But like, they're all short.
It's funny because I was listening. So I'm a big, like, I listen to Sirius XM NFL. That's like my go-to. I have it on all day. And I was in the car today listening and I forget which segment was on at that point, but back in the day, they actually used to look at that as an advantage. They wanted short running backs. So it's funny how this narrative switched where now we want these like behemoth guys where it's not entirely like the dude is still 200 pounds. I don't give a shit if he's 5'8".
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing when you get into like the 220, like you only remember like Michael Turner. We're talking about the Falcons. Don't you remember Michael Turner? I mean, he was short, but he's huge.
A bulldozer, guys.
Exactly. Like I'll take that. Like, give me a guy that's short, but like can bounce off of tackles left and right. Like, I mean, Marshawn Lynch wasn't 6'5" or anything like that, but did that matter? No. Barry Sanders, he wasn't the tallest guy. He's arguably the greatest running back ever.
And this is where size starts to come in. When someone is like a talent, it doesn't, and that's where the argument, you want to bring up DeVonta Smith, like that's the title of this whole thing is like, it doesn't, like, I get the argument, right? Like, I respect the concern with his BMI. BMI, the biggest thing is it doesn't account for muscle mass. Muscle mass is where you start looking at soft tissue injuries and how that like is an implication of that. That's okay. But DeVonta Smith is not a normal rookie, right? Like, this is not Calvin Ridley coming in to the draft. This is DeVonta Smith, who has one of the best football IQs that I've seen in years. Like, it doesn't matter because he's DeVonta Smith, so he gets a little bit of a pass for that reason. Of course, BMI, to some extent, you do get concerned. I get it. I got it. I respect you guys. But like, some of these players, yes, he's shorter. Yes, he's this size. The jump wasn't whatever. But if they're a different, like, there's certain players that are not on the same level as everyone else. It's a different level of player.
No, I absolutely agree with you. And I think that definitely needed to be said. All right, Falcons fans, you've gotten way too much talk about your team.
Way too much talk. We love you
way
tonight.
Too much talk.
But I wish, I want to see Matt Ryan finish his career on a high, I would love to see them have a winning season, and I think that honestly, if they do have a winning season, I could see him retiring. I could
definitely see that.
I think he's on his way. I don't think we're seeing more than 2 seasons out of Matt Ryan after this, especially if they get him beat up. So,
God. I mean, if they grab Sewell, I think they're going to be set on the offensive line. And then they're going to get some like random quarterback next year. And they're going to have a great year. And everyone's going to be like, oh, this quarterback's amazing. They'll be like, no, they have Arthur Smith. They have Julio Jones, 100%. Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, and then they have this top 5 offensive line.
Yeah, the players got to play with Matt Ryan. Like, people forget about Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is a great quarterback. So they got to train under him for a bit, So you just take that into account. That's like a big deal.
I'm interested to see. I mean, we're talking way too much about the Falcons, but
I know I'm done with the Falcons. No more Falcons. We're done with you.
All right, yeah,
we appreciate you too,
guys.
Right, guys.
You guys got a earful there. Okay. All right. The next pick would be the Bengals. Okay. And I think you and I agree on this. I mean, we may disagree on who the best tackle in the draft is. Pick the goddamn tackle. What the hell are you thinking?
Period.
Like, well, the second round offensive. I'm sorry. Are you bargain bin shopping for your franchise quarterback? Is that what I hear here? Like, is that what you're doing? You're like, well, we can.
To be clear, like, unless it's Matt Pert, who I will defend because that's a steal, and he will end up being one of the best O linemen in this league by the time he retires. Like, he will be a well-known name. So that was a steal for a third round. Cool, great. That's not a normal thing, right? So, like, if you have the choice between a generational franchise O lineman, you pick him, period. Especially if you are a team that just had your quarterback with his leg half off his body during a game. Especially if you have a quarterback who has the potential to be a top 5 QB, right? Like, you have the weapons. Shut up. You have Higgins. Like, get out of here with that. Like, you're acting like you have no, and I think that it shows how much they value their quarterback. And, the Bengals are known to do something stupid, to be honest. So am I going to be shocked right here if they take Chase? Do it. But I think having your quarterback coming off of the injury that he is, it's a huge mistake.
Huge. I mean, look at their offensive line. So they added Riley Reef, and now all of a sudden, all of our offensive line problems are fixed. Yeah. Riley Reef, who's 35 years old, who's always been like the epitome of average, a little bit above average. Then Quentin Spann, who's all right. Trey Hopkins, Michael Jordan. You'd be better off having the actual Michael Jordan. I'm
yeah, right. No, seriously though. Like,
and then Jonah Williams, who it's like, yeah, it's great and all, but like, so Jonah Williams is all I see on your offensive line. That's like any bit, I could develop around him. Billy Price has kind of been somewhat of a disappointment. First round pick in 2018. Hakeem Adeniji, a 6th round pick in 2020. Like those are my pieces there. I'm looking at Adeniji, a 6th rounder, and Jonah Williams.
Right.
So
look at, like, seriously, everyone, think about it. Let's just think about it like just the facts there are the facts. Think of every quarterback that got injured this year. What is the problem universally on all those teams? It's that the O-line is an issue. I mean, like, period. That's it. You look at Daniel Jones, you look at Burrow, you look at Dak Prescott, like there is a missing factor there. You build from the trenches. And if you look at it historically, it's very, very obvious that is an important thing to do. I mean, like, yes. You want to protect your quarterback. And what a waste of a quarterback. Joe Burrow, you're going to allow him to get hurt, having the season that he has, and then go ahead and take another wide receiver when, first of all, this is a huge wide receiver class. Like, the depth is very, like, this is a deep wide receiver class. Absolutely. You're going to see more guys come out of the 2nd and 3rd round that end up being studs. Like, you can wait. What you can't wait on is protecting his damn leg.
I agree. And like, what are you, because I really do like Chase. He's my number 2 receiver, but like, what are you looking for? Is it just because like he has familiarity with Burrow? Is that the entire reason for you drafting him? Because that's not the right reason. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Auden Tate. You could get away with those 3. Auden Tate is a 6'5"
like Burrow. It's Burrow, guys.
Yeah, it's Burrow. And also, like, if Kyle Pitts is there and they choose Chase, I think they chose wrong.
I agree.
Your tight end is either CJ Uzomah, who was your 5th round pick in 2015, and Drew Sample, who you somehow decided to pick in the 2nd round in 2019.
Yeah.
Who's
so
like,
it does feel very smoke. This does feel very smoke screeny. I think, and it happens a lot. This is what happens. And I talked about this on my show that just came out today is everyone in the offseason wants to be a detective. Like, we all want to be these detectives because you're really not going off of much. So you find any little thing, any little piece that you can connect the dots, like, oh yeah, they played together in 1927 and now they're going to be on the same team. Like, that is your backup for your case. So I think that, yes, did Burrow maybe make a comment, which are we positive it came out of Burrow's mouth? Like, yeah, I don't believe anything that anyone says during the offseason. And yes, would it be cool? For sure it'd be cool. But I don't really care. You need to protect the dude that just had his injury was disgusting. I mean, go back and watch it. He's someone that had a full,
no, thank you.
It was his MCL, his ACL, his meniscus, like the whole ordeal. The whole thing happened. So protect him. Let's keep his legs there. You have weapons. You guys were having I'm not gonna say very good, but a good season up until you let him literally have his leg like amputated on the field. So I think that might be one of the smoke screens, but boy, if they take Chase, first of all, it's good for the teams below the Bengals, because then you're letting these awesome tackles start falling. And a lot of these teams could really utilize them. And I think they're looking for them. So this is another one. That's why I said, like, these 3 picks right there are very, like, they will change the entire trajectory of the entire draft. It's crazy.
I agree. And, it's funny because pick 6 here with the Dolphins, I feel like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me, but like the 6th overall pick has brought like guys like Jamal Adams to fall, like Leonard Williams, like guys that I felt were the best players in the draft fell to 6. So lucky number 6 here, like the Dolphins You know, they could obviously use a receiver. Now, wouldn't it be funny though if they picked Chase and they have Tua, they're committed to Tua, and they pick Chase? That'd be almost feel like they were just picking a guy to spite Tua.
That's what it feels like. Even like the Fuller signing,
guys.
like, is so weird to me. Like,
yeah,
I just feel like it's not. So I don't really, and it's crazy because I do like the coaching staff over there. I'm just not like loving what's happening. And I think that they're doing a good job. They're fixing the culture. They are, they did well. It's not like they had a bad season, but it's like I need to see them really make some moves in this draft that makes sense almost. But I don't know what makes sense here.
Yeah, I mean,
I think a running back, really. Like, if I'm them, what I'm doing is I'm addressing the fact that you guys can't run the damn ball. Tua isn't really proving to be entirely what we thought he would be. He's okay with, he's got to move in the pocket a little bit better. So do you get him a weapon that allows him to run, and just in case you're not getting the throwing ability out of him that you thought you were? So to me, I'm maybe going running back here, but that's that's very early to take a running back. Granted, I'm a Giants fan and I don't really have a right to say that, but I'm like, I think a running back here isn't a horrible move.
Running back would be way too early for me, just because I don't feel like there's a Todd Gurley, a Saquon Barkley, insert the name there, type of prospect.
If they get picked, I'm going to be annoyed. I don't know why. Like, I'm going to be pissed off.
Like, Najee Harris to me is my top running back. And Najee Harris,
yeah,
I just have a hard time justifying him going like top 20. Like, I
don't
really
have a running back. Like, I'm going to even pull my notes. I don't have a running back that I'm like, oh my God, you should totally take him in the top 10. I
just feel like this is a good running back draft where you could grab a guy, like I said, Jermar Jefferson out of Oregon State in like the 4th round or the 3rd round, and you'd be getting something there. Or, I think Javonte Williams might have the highest ceiling. You know what I mean? So Najee's older. So like Najee will be either 25 or 26 at the end of his contract. So it's almost like, you know what I mean? Like I mean, he's my number 1 because based on the tape, that's what I saw. He was the number 1 back. But I think the way Javonte projects long-term, he has a chance to be the best running back from this draft class. And a guy that you need to keep in mind, he's not going to fix your bell cow problem, but Puka Williams from Kansas.
I have him on my notes. He's another one.
He's a guy that I've watched for years because I'm a Kansas Jayhawk fan. I know, very shocking there. He's on my notes. Look, I have him. He's right here. Fun fact: Jamar Chase originally committed to the Kansas Jayhawks.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
He decommitted in like a week and went to LSU, and I thought I was going to cry because they don't get anybody. But then they got Puka Williams, who's a 5-star running back.
Let's see what my negatives were on him.
Probably
basically just power lacking for squared up.
Yeah, I mean he's not
pass blocking. Actually, doesn't have a ton of.
He's like 170 pounds, soaking wet. So like the problem with him is that like you're looking at like a Tariq Cohen gadget type of role for him. But I mean, he could be explosive as all hell. And I don't even know where he's going to go because he has some questionable allegations in the past at Kansas. So I think he could fall. But watch out, because if he falls into the wrong hands, he could be very dangerous.
So here's the thing with these character stuff that's coming out. This is a new era of coaches who are very dominant, and we're seeing a new wave of coaches. We're seeing a new wave of, teams that are rising. You're seeing teams like the Steelers and the Seahawks start falling, who were very dominant in years past. But you're seeing these newer coaches come in. They're not putting up with crap. So I think we see them able to manage, some of these situations where
I agree.
See, in the past, like maybe these guys would have dropped, but someone like Joe Judge is like, I don't care. That's fine. I'll deal with him when he gets here. Like I could see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, an organization like the Jets who took Ja'Kai Polite might not go that route again.
Right. Yeah.
They're for every organization like that. I mean, the post, at least the post Steve Spagnuolo era, the Rams haven't really cared about character concerns. They have drafted whoever and they've gotten a good, bang for their buck. I mean, when Les Snead came in with Jeff Fisher, they go out, they draft Jermaine Johnson, who had a character flag. And I mean, Janoris Jenkins had a laundry list of them. But did you ever hear about any of those in the NFL? That's the thing. So it's almost like these guys are like I think people forget, like, Stephie, we're talking about kids. We're talking about kids that are that are younger than us. You know what I mean? So I think people forget that, especially like older people, like 40, 50-year-olds, like that are like, they idolize these kids. And I'm like, you need to calm down. Like, Amir Smith-Marset made a mistake, and he,
listen,
like, he's...
No one would have drafted me if you looked at the things that I did in college, right? No, seriously, like, looking at it, like, they would have turned their head at me, right? If you're in that older, but like, people do make mistakes. It's cool.
Yeah.
But you get them
absolutely.
in a scenario. Like, I didn't even know today. I found out. Do you know Mac Jones had a DUI?
Yeah, too.
Okay, so now I'm finding out he had two. Like, I don't really care though, like,
I mean, Baker Mayfield is caught on film running away from the police and drunk out of his mind, but he went number 1 overall.
And and someone, and I just saw in the chat, they brought up Parsons, and that's someone I know. I actually haven't looked into it entirely because I know the Giants have been, there's rumors. I'm not buying into it. I mean, we haven't drafted a linebacker at the draft since 1984. I mean, since Coral Banks. This is like, what did I say? Like 1996 or whatever, So it's like, there's those years, like 1984. I'm not buying into us taking Parsons, but everyone says, oh, character this, character. I don't really care, because look what Joe Judge did with Golden Tate. Shut his mouth up. Didn't let him go to Washington. Like, I'm not worried about it. I think that some coaches can handle things. And I mean, it's not like they're going to a Gase system.
Thank God. Oh God. Jeez. I cannot believe we let that guy. I can't, because we talked about this last time, but it still pisses me off.
Amazing.
We let a guy that coached Peyton frickin' Manning dictate like this idea of like young coaches. Like, he fooled me. Like, I let a guy like that be like, oh yeah, Adam Gase is one of the young up and coming offensive minds. And no, he's not. He coached Peyton freaking Manning. He had Emmanuel Sanders, and he had Wes Welker, and he had Demaryius Thomas. Like,
newsflash, it didn't matter if it was Gase, if it was the Pope. It's Peyton Manning, idiots. Like,
yeah, like Peyton Manning doesn't need a coach. Peyton Manning is his own coach. He was literally calling plays on the field like his whole career.
It does not matter. Like, we're talking Peyton Manning. I don't really give a shit who the coach is. So, I think that, I mean, like, Shanahan is someone, like, if Shanahan coached Peyton, like, maybe we could argue a little bit. But like, fair. Gase did not participate in any development of Peyton Manning.
You know who's worse and rhymes with Gase? Ryan Pace.
Oh God, I can't wait till we get to that pick. Okay, where are we at? Because now I got to get down to that point.
So we're at 6 here with the Dolphins. I mean, I don't know where they're going. I mean, I think they should go probably best available, and in this case, it would probably be Pitts or. Well, I mean, for me, Waddle. I think Waddle's the best receiver.
They're one of these teams. There's very few that, just take the best available at that point.
Or you trade back.
Every team has that advantage. There's probably 5 teams I can think of that have that advantage right now. And Miami is one of them, 120%.
Could they trade back again?
Oh my God, that would be wild. I mean, they're doing a good job preparing for the future. So it's kind of we're going to see what they value most at this pick, I think.
That's going to be funny, though, because hear me out. If they trade back,
I will pee my pants if they take a quarterback, though. I will literally pee my pants if it happens.
Like, if they, keep in mind, if they trade back, all I can see in like their war room is them going like clearly whatever they wanted to happen did not happen. And they're like, all like butthurt about it. And it's just, I don't know, that would make me laugh, because it's just like actions speak louder than words type of moment. And you would know, you'd be like, whatever they thought was going to happen Nope. Like, did not happen. Number 7 is the Lions. And remember, I was telling you, I'm not done on the Lions. I think they can compete this year.
So
I don't think they should take a quarterback.
I shouted you out last night because last time we talked about the Lions, I was on here, and I'm not over the Lions. Like, the Lions still, there's like, I believe more in the Lions than I do the Eagles, easily.
Oh,
like,
way more.
I won't even argue. Like, the Lions they're in like a good space right now to rebuild properly. Could they totally screw it up? 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm interested to see what you think they should do here.
Well, I think you got to stay clear away from a quarterback because I love Lance and Fields, but in this scenario, there's no way they're there, right? There's just no way that they're there. And I'm not reaching on Mac Jones. I'm not reaching on Davis Mills. I'm not picking a quarterback here. I'm going to look at Jared Goff for the foreseeable future because that is what I chose when I traded for him. I traded for a guy that has 2 years on his deal. We can make it work. And if it doesn't work, doesn't work. But I'm not going to give up on that or hurt Goff after I went out and got Tim Boyle. We have, David Blau. David Blau's played some decent playing time in the NFL. And Tim Boyle was a well-respected backup in Green Bay. He was actually ahead of what's his face? Jordan Love on the depth chart. So I think Boyle and Blau are enough to push Goff and kick him into gear. That's enough competition. You don't need to go out and get a Trey Lance and absolutely cripple him. You know what I mean? So
I think they get him another weapon is what they do.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, Rashad Perriman.
You lost Galladay. I mean, get him another whatever. If Waddle's there, take Waddle. I think he's another
all for that. I'm all for
another big-bodied guy. I mean, I don't hate that.
I like the idea because you have Khalif Raymond, who you signed Tyrell Williams, and you signed Rashad Perriman. So what is this telling me? This is telling me that the Lions do believe in Jared Goff coming back to life with that deep ball. Because why would you get guys that can stretch the field vertically like that?
Yeah. And I mean, this is another team. Don't act like they're not bad because they don't have weapons. Like, they have names on paper. Like, there are names there.
They got, what's his face? They got Romeo Okwara to come back.
Right.
Everyone thought he was gone. Like, right? Like, everyone thought he was leaving. He stayed. They still have Jamie Collins. They still have Trey Flowers. They added Michael Brockers. Don't sleep on Brockers. I think he's a huge addition, and he's a huge addition in more ways than one. Because when Steve Weish came on my show last year on the Downtown Rams podcast, he said straight up, don't be surprised if the Rams bring back Michael Brockers because he means so much to that locker room. He is a leader, and they love him. Sure enough, he signs with the Ravens for whatever reason. I don't know, buyer's remorse or whatever, but they were like, nope, null and void. We're going to get rid of that deal. He failed his physical, whatever. He goes to the Rams, doesn't fail the physical, comes back to the Rams. And sure enough, Steve was right. They did really value him, and they signed him back. They wanted to bring him back. It's just a big cap hit. So the Lions got this guy for a 2023 pick, like a late 2023 pick. They're going to get a guy that's a leader, a guy that can step right in, and him and Trey Flowers, that's a pretty good combo. Pennicini, the guy that played last year, a 6th-round pick, he played well. They like him. And then, you have Romeo Okwara, and that's your defensive line, and all of a sudden, not too bad going into the draft. So I'm here. I'm picking either Waddle to get my guy a legit weapon, get Jared Goff a weapon. But if not, I'm potentially trading back, and I'm trying to get a guy from Notre Dame, JOK, because I think JOK would be huge for them. You have Jelani Tavai, you have Jalen Reeves-Maybin, you have Jamie Collins. Maybe add another guy in there. I know they brought in Alex Anzalone in the offseason and a guy I really like in Sean Dion Hamilton. But JOK is a game changer, and he's my number 1 linebacker in this draft. So I'd like that a lot.
I think their best move is to really, you go ahead and depending on how the draft moves is you go ahead and you take, if Waddle's there, go ahead, take Waddle, do your thing. But if not, if I'm them, I'm trading down and then going for whatever I need. So if you're not going to get another weapon there, I don't think it's worth I've seen Parsons picked there a couple times. I think you could wait to get Parsons. I don't know that taking him in that. I think you could get a little bit more. I
feel like that's such a preseason mock pick, though. Like preseason, it's like Parsons was top 5, no doubt, and now I can't even I can't see him going inside the top 10.
Right. I don't disagree, but you're making me nervous because that what's outside of the top 10 is. It's 11.
Yes, I know. Well, I think the Giants, the way it's looking, is they're going to end up with a damn good receiver. I couldn't tell you who, but it's going to be one of the top 3 in my opinion. It's going to be at least on my board.
Talking, now it seems like a tackle is going to fall because so where do you think the Panthers go?
Oh God! Well, the Panthers.
This is hard.
Panthers,
these next 2 are also 2 picks so it goes from San Francisco, Atlanta, Cincinnati, and then you drop down to this Panthers, Broncos scenario. Those picks change everything.
I really like what the Panthers did going out, last year. They get Derek Brown. Love Derek Brown. Derek Brown would easily be, he would be the top. Okay, so you could take half of Derek Brown and he would be the top defensive tackle in this draft.
Right.
He's a stud. So they go out and they get him in the first round. They get Yetur Gross-Matos in the second round from Penn State. They have Shaq Thompson in the middle there. They grab Denzel Perryman. No one's talking about that. I think that's a solid move. Hassan Reddick is another very, very good move. The reason being Hassan Reddick follows his coach, Matt Rule, from Temple, because Matt Rule originally coached at Temple, went to Baylor. He follows him from Temple back to the NFL. So I love that. Jeremy Chin is a freaking star. So they get him in the second round. We knew that. If you saw him at the Senior Bowl, you'd be like, all right, this guy is he's gonna work out. Troy Pride, who I like. They added Rashawn Melvin, not bad depth there. Justin Burris from Cleveland, Dante Jackson. And then hold on a second. I feel like no one noticed this happened. They got AJ Boye just overnight.
Right.
So their secondary is starting to get better. Their defense, I talked about Bravion Roy, a guy that followed Rule. They drafted back from Baylor. He comes over. He has a solid season as a rookie, 6th round pick. Okay. Morgan Fox, they add from the Rams, had 5 sacks.
I forgot about that.
Marquise Haynes, a 4th rounder from 2018. And then my guy, the top, and I know people are going to say, what? The top pass rusher in the 2019 NFL draft, Brian Burns. I really like what they're doing. And I didn't even talk about their offense.
Yeah. But what do they do? But now where do you go from here? I feel like they're another team. I feel like they can't really totally botch this pick entirely.
You really can't because, they have DJ Moore. They have Robbie Anderson, David Moore. Do you add another receiver? Do you consider that? Because, I don't think that would be out of the question. I like David Moore. I think they legitimately signed him to be their slot guy. But what if they're sitting there thinking, well, Waddle's available, Chase is available, DeVonta Smith is available. Any of those guys fall, I might pick that, especially for my young Sam Darnold at quarterback. Another option here.
I like tackle here a little bit.
I could see that. Greg Little. Okay, they franchised Taylor Moton, which I liked. Okay, I like tagging him from Western Michigan. Big fan of his coming out in the 2017 draft. Greg Little, I was not a fan of in 2019. Second round, same thing. Actually. But I don't see the athleticism people were talking about. As a matter of fact, I don't see it at all. Then you have Dennis Daly at left guard. You have Matt Paradis, who's one of the best centers in football. And then you have Pat Elflein, who that's weird that they brought him over from the Jets and they got Darnold. I don't think he cares that much about having Pat Elflein, but that's interesting there. So, they could definitely look at a guard later on. If they wanted to trade down and get Elijah Vera Tucker, though, I'd be so for that.
Yeah, I think it would be a good move, but I could see them, as much as it pains me to say this, you put your eggs into one basket, one small Darnold basket, which I think that Darnold, a great scenario for him. I mean, you're giving him a bunch of weapons. You're getting him out of Gase's claws. He's going to get a fresh start. I think they totally screwed his career a little bit. Don't sleep on the fact that he still went very, very high when it was his year to go, right? Like this was not a guy. You guys all thought this was Trevor Lawrence that year. So I think that
the whole year,
I'm making sure I'm protecting him.
I mean, I think people forget what Sam Darnold is capable of, and the fact that his best weapon was Denzel Mims, who was like either suspended or like he missed 6 games due to injury. Like there was something.
And no one knew it was a player until week 9, like no one knew he was a player until like late on.
So like, and then no running game. Like they grabbed Le'Veon Bell and they just expected it all to go well, and then it didn't. Oh, well, we have, the ghost of Frank Gore. Like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, so this, let me break this down for you. You have a young quarterback with no protection, no running game. And his best receiver is a guy that we didn't realize was his best receiver, 2nd-round pick until week 9 of last year.
And the coach is snorting pneumonia salts on the sideline. Yeah. Like that is the scenario you gave this poor boy. Like that is what you gave him, and you were like, do good or screw you. So I think that, getting another weapon, I could see them maybe adding a cornerback. I don't know. I think protecting him is. You don't think they'll add to the secondary?
I think, that secondary is already really good. And if that would really change the draft there. Because if they all of a sudden are like, you know what, we're going to take Surtain, screw all of you. Like, that changes everything. That flips the draft on its head.
Crap. No, I think that they'll take a tackle. I think they would have watched, if you're going to really invest in Darnold, I think that investing in him, it's the same way, I'm not before I get quote tweeted or something, like I'm not saying Burrow and Darnold are in the same category, but I'm saying if you're going to invest that much into a quarterback, protect them. So I think, which it will pay me, but they could trade down though and get. Wow.
I think if you're in this situation, you have all these receivers. If you don't have a preference, that's the thing. If the Panthers come here and they're like, they don't have a preference.
So for me, though, Slater is in a different level than Tuck. Like I don't view that.
So you would take Slater at this pick? Like
I
no
would
questions
absolutely
asked.
take Slater.
Okay.
At this pick.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For me, because I have Darisaw as my tackle too.
Mm-hmm. So I would take Darisaw before I would take, I don't think that Tucker is as good as everyone's saying.
Who?
Like AVT, is it ATV, AVT? I mess it up every time. I like drink too
many yeah. You don't like Elijah Bear Tucker?
No, I like him. I'm not putting him into like a Slater conversation.
I see Elijah Vera Tucker as an interior offensive lineman and the best in this draft.
Great. So some of these teams, though, need a little bit more versatility, I think, than that.
Yeah. Well, I think when you're looking at, I think you can be fine with Dennis Daly and Pat Elflein if they're next to Taylor Moton and Matt Paratus, but you need a left tackle because I don't think Greg Little's it. And they added Cameron Irving, who I also don't like. Yeah, I gotta tell you, I think the tackle makes sense. I would trade down like a few spots and grab Darisaw according to my board. And you would grab Slater here.
I think I would grab Slater, but I also if they trade down, I think it's a great move because I think that the tackle situation, everyone's being a little too hard on.
Yes.
I just think so for me, when I go and I rank these guys, it's more and I do it a little bit differently where it's who is NFL ready. So I think that there's more of a learning curve with some of the guys that are getting not as recognized, but I think they can be fantastic. I just think they need it's going to take a little bit longer. And coming from someone that is a New York Giants fan and watched Andrew Thomas, knowing that was going to happen because we all know I love the O-line. And it's so funny. I was just telling my friend, I cried last year when we took him. I cried my eyes out, and I don't cry. I cry 3 times a year.
Who was your OT1?
I wanted Wirfs so bad. Like I was so my heart hurt.
Virtual
like,
high five.
Yes. My heart hurt. Like, and you leave it to Gettleman. Taking a guy, if you're gonna take a tackle in the top 10, you better make damn sure, not even top 10, you take him in the top 8, top 7. Like, you better make sure that guy is a generational talent. Like, you better make sure. And you know what? Andrew Thomas will be. He kind of got screwed with Colombo and, the injury, whatever. But, like, I just didn't see him transitioning as well, which he didn't.
That's the weird thing, because everything I saw was like Andrew Thomas seems like the most NFL ready. And Wirfs has an astronomical ceiling.
And this is how I know everyone's wrong.
Yeah. And I was thinking, I'm like, I don't know how you look at Wirfs and say that guy is the number 1 tackle in the draft. Like,
I don't know either. Yeah.
He was such a monster. I don't get it. But
and my only thing with Penny too is like, and this is why I get so much hate about it. And it's like, I'm not saying he's not fantastic. And I would rather it be like, if I could do 1A, 1B, I would, but that's not what everyone wants. So he's my OT too. I just think that Pac-12, I don't like the Pac-12. I don't like players that really come from the Pac-12. I think that they have a harder time, especially at tackle, coming into the league. And I think you have Slater who shut down Chase Young. That's enough for me. I don't even really need to look at the film at that point, because Chase Young was fine coming in, and if you have him going against him, I'm all in. So that's enough for me.
I liked Slater. I definitely did. I was blown away by. I think the fact is Sewell is just so he's so dynamic, and the fact he's literally a convoy. Like, he's just a walking convoy. He will get to the next level, and he will throw that block.
I think it's going to take a couple weeks is my only argument.
Maybe. I'm so high on him. I can't.
I know. Everyone is. I know. I'm like the only one. It's not that I'm not, though. I love him. I think he's going to be great.
So I'm thinking, because we're at 8. We haven't moved off this yet.
All right.
Let me flip the draft on its head. Ready?
Oh, God.
The Chargers trade up because you're talking about protecting Sam Darnold. Why are we not protecting Herbert? I mean, right now you're gonna throw Pipkins in there? Oh, hell no. So I'm going with I like this trade. Okay, so they trade up. They trade up and they get Darisaw or Slater as their left tackle, and then you have either one of those guys, Ibushi, Corey Linsley, who they just signed. They got Matt Filer, who they signed from Pittsburgh, and Brian Bulaga, who, I mean, his contract's awful. So, I mean, hopefully he plays somewhat decent, but his contract's one of the worst in the NFL. But honestly, I'm looking here and I'm like, Trey Pipkins, I know they drafted 3rd round in 2019. I liked him as a late round sleeper. When they picked him in the 3rd round, my eyes popped right out of my head. I was like, what? Sioux Falls kid in the 3rd round? I was not expecting that. So,
and that
I think the trade up makes a lot of sense.
It does. And that actually makes things interesting, because now this looking at it, right? So say we make that move, then you have the Broncos. The Broncos can look ahead, and what they see is Dallas, New York, Eagles, Chargers, who just whatever, so Panther, Vikings. So you're looking at a list of teams that don't need a quarterback now. And Trey Lance is still sitting there. So did they trade down?
Potentially. I think he'd be gone by now.
I think he should be gone. But is Mac Jones still there then?
I think Mac Jones is still there. And I think if Mac Jones is still there, I think the Patriots, the football team didn't want to get canceled there. And
the football team is screwed at this. If they haven't traded up past 10, 11, 12, they're screwed, because 10, 11, 12 isn't moving them up. No one's going to let them move up to take a quarterback. No one in the division is doing that.
Well, There's and one thing we're not taking into account, there could be a Bridgewater trade here as well. So they could package they could package picks to move down but use Bridgewater. So obviously they wouldn't get a 1st rounder for Bridgewater, but if the Panthers traded Bridgewater to a team and then moved down with that asset or whatever, I could definitely see that, which then means teams that could use Bridgewater, Washington potentially, Chicago definitely, and Houston.
Yeah, so things get weird here, huh?
Like, and New England. And New England. I would not rule out New England. I think New England's going to get Trey Lance. I'm going to say that right now. I think they are going to make the move, and they're going to get him.
Screwed. If that happens, the entire league is screwed.
I want to see it.
I love it, though.
It's all I want. Like,
yeah, I mean, I love it. I think that it would be so fun to watch. I just don't know what do you think the Broncos do then?
Well, everyone seems to be done with Drew Lock, and maybe it's just my stubbornness on young quarterbacks, but I'm not done on Drew Lock. I made this argument the last time you were on. 2019 second round pick. Okay. I watched, like, just seeing him in person, the way he interacted at the Senior Bowl. You could tell that guy's a leader, has that, like, he has that swagger that you either have or you don't. Yeah. So I love that. But most importantly, I think the guy has a lot of talent, and I think they kind of neglected. They took forever to use him his rookie year, if you remember that. They took forever because it was Flacco. And then his second year in the league, you're telling me, like, he gets a shoulder injury week 2 against the Steelers, is not the same, and now we're done with him? I can't subscribe to that.
The cancel culture for young quarterbacks is
God,
of this damn world. Like,
it is.
I get it, and but it roots. You know what it roots from too? Is it roots from fantasy football?
Absolutely.
Like, that's where it comes from. It's not like you don't just give up on a quarterback because they had.
Well, did Tua throw like 3 touchdowns in a game, look like a god, and then the next week everyone's like, "Oh, I'm done with Tua. He can't be fixed."
And then
Jalen Hurts too.
And I'm not high on Tua, but I'm not canceling him. You've got to give the guy another chance.
Same here. I totally agree.
I don't love Tua. He obviously has the potential, but I don't know with him. I just don't. I straight up don't know how I feel.
Put it this way: if Miami listened to me and they picked Herbert, we'd be talking about a team that could be winning a Super Bowl right now.
100%. And then, Miami with Fitz there, whatever. But I think the cancel culture for these guys, there has to be a learning curve.
That's my argument with Haskins. Regardless of how you feel about Haskins, and yes, was it smart for him to do what he did with the nightclub? No, but it's okay, so Haskins literally got 4 games with his offensive coordinator who took over at calling the plays because they fired Jay Gruden. So, by the way, that's another thing. Gotta love when we bring in young quarterbacks, they go to a horrible organization. The organization fires everybody on the staff, and then it's it's your fault. You're bad. It's your fault. You have to learn your 3rd system in 3 years.
Daniel Jones would like to enter the chat now, if that's possible.
That's fair. I'm excited for him. I'm excited for
him. I'm excited for Darnold. I'm excited to see what guys like that. Even I think that
I hope Locke shreds everything. Okay, I hope he goes to Kansas City, and I hope he goes toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes and plays lights out. And then people shut the hell up. Do
you remember the way that we talked about Josh Allen? I see you, Bills fans. I saw what you said about him. That's fine. But now you're worshiping him. Because he needed a damn second. Give some of these. Not everyone can be Patrick Mahomes. Not everyone walks into the league and just balls out. It's just not how it works.
True.
You need to. I was just again I always revert back to the XM Rio, but it's you need to give these guys not only time to adjust, but if their time to adjust is including 17 new coaches, her star players, an offensive line that blows, what do you want these young guys to do? I mean, you're asking for a lot now.
Well, let me make the argument for Locke. Besides of what I was already saying, I mean, he's got some stuff here. I like the Mike Boone pickup a lot, honestly. I think it's going to really help the run game. You have Royce Freeman, who's solid in pass pro, and you have Melvin Gordon, who, somehow will sneak in, almost get 1,000 yards every year, and you'll never know how it happened, but it will. And by the way, he didn't have his number 1 receiver last year, who was about to literally set the world on fire in Courtland Sutton. So everyone forgets about that. Conveniently, let's just forget about his number one receiver being gone.
Yep,
conveniently, let's forget about his shoulder injury.
Right.
And it was week 2. How did he not recover from it? Stuff like that happens. Setbacks. Rushing guys back too quickly. Oh, and by the way, COVID. Like, there was all sorts of stuff going on with Denver. They didn't have Von Miller. I mean, like, everybody got hurt last year. And then people were like, Vic Fangio needs to go. I'm like, no, Vic Fangio absolutely does not need to go. You need to have some patience, my friend, because if you look at the roster they're building, it's actually quite impressive, and they should start winning football games. If they stick with Locke and they draft somebody, you're looking. Let's go through it real quick with the offense. So you have Locke, you have Melvin Gordon, you have Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, who randomly became really good last year.
He's someone to look at. Like, if you're a fantasy person, snag him, because people sleep on him. And if he does be able to get his potential in, like, it's going to be amazing.
No, I agree with you. And they kept him. You know, he's a restricted free agent. They kept him. KJ Hamler, you know, they have their gadget guy from Penn State. Deshaun Hamilton, if he ever, becomes something. And then you look at the offensive line, and hate to break it to you, this offensive line's pretty damn good. Garrett Bowles, Dalton Reisner, Lloyd Cushenberry III, Graham Glasgow, and Jawan James. And then you have Netani Muti, who was one of the best interior offensive line prospects last year, had a bunch of injuries that forced him to fall into the 6th round, but they have him. And they have Calvin Anderson, a guy I like a lot, UDFA out of Texas. That's just their offense. You look at their defense. Shelby Harris, Shamar Stephen. They drafted my guy, McTelvin Ajim, 3rd round last year. Big fan of his. He will be good. Mike Purcell has been huge for them. Draymond Jones, 3rd round from 2019. Bradley Chubb, 1st round pick in 2018. Alexander Johnson, if you don't know his name, he's been killing it at linebacker for 2 years. Get with the program.
He goes under the radar a lot.
Yes, he's very good. I know him only because of what was it? The IDP. So I was ahead. Like, when he was named the starter 2 years ago, I was ahead of it. Like, I picked him up and I'm like, yes. They have Malik Reed, who I really like, out of Utah State. Then you look at Josie Jewell, 4th round pick from 2018, highly productive 4th round pick. You have Von Miller coming back. By the way, like, he's coming back. He's gonna play, and he's still really good at football. And then the secondary. Look at this secondary: Duke Dawson, Ronald Darby, Kyle Fuller, Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson. Who do they need to draft at this pick? I could argue they trade down. Why do they need to pick anybody here? Like, and, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking,
but I feel
like everyone has them winning like 5 games, and I can't understand why. That roster tells me they're winning at least 10 games that Drew Lock plays average.
Right, because that's the thing is, and I've said it on here before, you don't need to be a great quarterback to win Super Bowls.
No.
Period. Eli Manning won 2 and beat Tom Brady. Like, he was never He was never a great quarterback, like, period. That's it. Like, he's a great postseason quarterback. Like, you don't need to be great. You need to be good, get protected, have a good defense, and have weapons. That's it. That's how you win a Super Bowl, period.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, I don't know that they need, but I could see the Broncos going quarterback here. I could see them doing it.
I could definitely see them doing that, mainly because Elway.
Right, exactly.
That's just, I have my feelings about Elway. We'll leave it at that. I don't want to burn any bridges that I haven't yet crossed. Micah Parsons, to me, if they stay there, makes the most sense, or JOK. Yeah. I think, and Parsons, I look as an edge defender. Okay. He's my number 1 or number 2 edge defender. I haven't finalized him. So a lot of people feel like he's the best inside linebacker, but if you watch the film, what is he best at? He's best when he's rushing the passer. So why would I want him not rushing the passer ever? Like, you know what I mean? I think you're just
he's one of those guys that's 2 for 1. He's going to come into the league. He's going to make a difference immediately. And that's it. Like, there's no argument for it. He's versatile, and versatility in the 1st round is huge. If you can get a player that gives you more than just one thing, it's awesome. And
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. That was it. I'm just agreeing with you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just looking at how ugly the rest of the draft gets. Like now I'm starting to get confused is all.
Yeah, well, the Cowboys are an easy one. You just put in.
If they have a cornerback, I would be
it's got to be cornerback because I don't want to have to see Dak Prescott pushing 50 points a game and them still losing because they can't cover.
Can Jerry Jones sell a cornerback's jersey?
Yeah, you can.
I don't know, can he? So
JC Horn, Surtain, and
so I did a draft earlier today. I had them take Surtain.
I think Surtain's a perfect fit.
I think so too. But if Pitts is still available, they're gonna take Pitts.
Yeah, he won't make it there though.
He won't.
I don't see it.
Shouldn't, because then it's gonna just get weird.
And you shouldn't trade up for a tight end. Like it's one of those things. If you're there, cool. But like, don't trade up for a tight end. No. I don't feel like that. That has a lot of bust potential, and that's not a huge boomer bust. Yeah. I feel like that's just a huge bust. Like
you're just asking for trouble at that point.
Yeah. Now, I feel like with the Cowboys, they could reach on an interior defensive lineman, which would make me laugh because there's not anybody that should go that high in this draft. But the Cowboys, to me, like they already drafted. Now I totally forgot his name. The guy from Alabama. What was his name? The cornerback. Damn it.
I can't think of his name either. Right
what is his
name?
And
it's so crazy because I spent all day looking at the Cowboys.
Trayvon Diggs.
That's it.
They already took Trayvon Diggs out of Alabama. What if they get Surtain to go with them? Like, I feel like they've already kind of stepped their foot in that pool. Now they're just going to dive in. Like, so Surtain makes the most sense. I also feel like kind of the JC Horn hype is understandable, but I still feel like Surtain is the better corner long term, and that's where I would go.
I 100% think so. I think that he is a clear. To me, it's not night and day between the two of them, but I'm taking Surtain over Horn. 100%.
I think Farley might be ahead of Horn for me.
Yeah,
I
my issue with Farley is his injury. It's not too nervous.
It's the injuries.
That's not an injury. Like, I understand it's a position that you're not, you can pick when you get hit is what they say.
Yeah.
Like, kind of.
Just be one of the best corners to ever do it. That never
right. So that means you literally have to not get touched because, there's some injuries I don't love coming into the NFL. There's two that I can think of automatically. It's an ACL injury. Thank you, Todd Gurley. Will present you into question. And then I also don't like anything that has to do with the back. Like,
I do not either.
Yeah, it's just I'm just not loving that.
Look at Robert Quinn. He went from being arguably one of the best pass rushers in all of football at the Rams, St. Louis, to having a back injury, constantly having affected. And then I don't think he hit 10 sacks again until he randomly revitalized his career with the Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, and we're looking at a guy like Farley's
had career was done after his back injury.
Right.
Like,
and I think hasn't Farley had 2 surgeries already?
He might have.
I think they just did something. I have to look it up, but
that's my only issue. I think on film, Farley is right up there with them. But
he's great.
That's a good point.
But you want to talk about like an injury, like this is something that I'm just not like I just don't love that because it takes one hit to need like another.
Yeah, they're absolutely drafting corner though. I'm looking at CJ Goodwin.
Right.
So I like Trayvon Diggs a lot, but like Jordan Lewis, CJ Goodwin, Anthony Brown, Rashard Robinson, Savion Smith, and Kemen Hall. No. they're drafting I don't care what anyone says. They're drafting cornerback. No one can tell me otherwise.
Or was he the one that he has a back injury? He also had an ACL tear. Oh, I'm off, Farley. Like you just hit all of my issues with someone coming into the draft. No, thank you.
So we got corner there. I'm gonna go with Surtain. It sounds like you're going Surtain.
Yeah, I think Surtain. I think that's the best fit there.
Now your Giants here with Jalen Waddle, I think, because I think he'll be there.
So, okay. Is Smith still available? I don't know.
I mean, I think maybe 2 of those receivers are there, if not at least 1.
I think so too.
So
I think that they either, And I'm starting to buy into the trading back thing, and I think it's Twitter's fault. I don't know. Things have
I don't think Gettleman's going to trade back.
I know, but things are moving differently than normal. So that makes me a little like, and now I'm like, maybe Judge is like whispering in his ear, like, we're doing things different now. Like I could totally see how, but I think trading back would be the move. The New York Giants don't do that, guys. Like, and I get it, and it sounds great, but then also both the tackles are gone. I think you take another weapon here. Why not? Then look at that offense. I mean, literally look at that offense if you take another wide receiver. So you get Waddle or Smith. You've got Galladay. You have Ross, who has, very high ceiling. Like, he could totally blow it, but he has a high ceiling. You've got Shep. You've got Slayton. You have Saquon coming back. You've got Rudolph. You've got Ingram. Like, there's that offense is impressive. It's shitty for fantasy because everyone's gonna be splitting a lot of targets unless you have Saquon.
It's gonna be obnoxious.
It's not like I'm not loving because Galladay, if they get another wide receiver for fantasy purposes, forget it. Like, your Galladay shares are not as pretty as they looked before. But I think if one of those two wide receivers is there, I think they go wide receiver. If one of the two tackles is there, they go tackle. I just don't see the tackles being there. I don't think that'll be the case.
Yeah, and I feel like this is way too early for like a Tevin Jenkins.
Way too early.
I mean, I actually have a higher grade on what's his face, Ray Dunes, but I wouldn't pick him here.
Not here. It's too high. You're at 11. If there's two of the best wide receivers that everyone said, there's three.
I think you go best available since we know he's not going to trade down.
Yeah. I'm
not going to let you have that false hope, Stephie. He's not. Listen to me when I say he's not going to trade down. It's not happening.
I don't know what is wrong with me that I think that.
It's hope.
God, if he blows this though one more year, like, I can't do the heartbreak again. I physically, emotionally, mentally, everything, like spiritually, I can't do it again. So that's why I'm kind of staying off the Giants thing. I think it'd be very hard to blow this pick. Because there's, they'd have to take a running back here for me to be mad. I couldn't get behind almost anything here. I still see people entertaining a cornerback here. I think it's unnecessary. I think they secured the secondary. I think you leave it alone.
If they took Kwity Paye, that would be bad, I think.
Mm-hmm. Because what everyone forgets is, look at, this is a defense that went from shit at like 30, 31 to 9. They've been able to put Band-Aids on it. And then you're bringing in someone like Jackson. You're bringing, there's no reason to really touch it. If you, right now, you can get by with what's going on because you were great last year. I think adding another offensive player it's just not a bad move.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at trade down seems like the best option if you're not going to go with receiver. Yeah, no, I know that. I'm telling you,
it's so sad.
That's depressing as hell. But I mean, hey, I'm not going to feel bad for you when you get my number one receiver in the draft in Jalen Waddle. It's going to happen.
Wow. I mean, I took him. So I did a draft with a bunch of people on Twitter, and I tried to be as Gettleman as possible. And Waddle was one of the guys that I took.
That's funny.
But I think, I think they'll go either way. People want to entertain the Parsons idea. I'm not buying it. Again, another thing, the Giants are a team that are very Giants-y, Daniel Jones was a Giants pick. Not trading down is a Giants move. You're telling me the last linebacker that they drafted was in 1984, not in 1994, not in 2004, not in 2014, 1984. I'm pretty sure the Cold War was that year. So it's not happening. So I'm not going to get excited about that either. I just don't know how they blow it here, but knock on wood, because Gettleman's
speaking
brand.
of blowing it, next is the Eagles.
Oh God.
And it's weird. They have, I don't know, they have some players I really like on this team. I like that they went out and got Javon Hargrave from Pittsburgh, very underrated interior defensive lineman. Derek Barnett, Fletcher Cox obviously is one of the best interior defensive linemen. Brandon Graham's still there. Josh Sweat really started to emerge. He was one of my favorite pass rushers in 2018. And I like, guys like Jannard Avery, Avonte Maddox. They added Anthony Harris, in free agency. Trade for Darius Slay. Their defense has some pieces I like, but it's a lot of this like Alex Singleton, TJ Edwards, like Kevin Seymour that I'm just like not feeling good about if I'm an Eagles fan. So there's a lot of places they could go here. Their offensive line looks pretty good, if you ask me. I mean, it's really up to Andre Dillard. If Dillard plays the way they, expect him to play, then, I mean, keep in mind, he got hurt last year, but, being a first round pick, you have Dillard, you have Isaac Sumalo, you have Jason Kelsey, Brandon Brooks, and Lane Johnson. At this point, I don't think Jason Kelsey's ever going to retire. I mean, I just don't. But
he's going to Adrian Peterson on these hoes.
Yes, I need him to go to a team. I need him to go to a team and just rip up 1,000 yards just to prove a point. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on this team? I look at them. I know they're probably going to draft a quarterback at some point to go against Jalen Hurts. I think it's the wrong move. Flacco's fine as your backup. Just stick with Hurts. You made your bed, now lay in it. Like, you have Fulgham, Jalen Reagor, go out and get another receiver because your third receiver is Greg Ward and you drafted Quez Watkins. Like, that's it. You
know what the funniest thing is? Now that, I said I'm like a betting girl now. The odds are more in favor of the Eagles winning over the Giants. Are you kidding?
Like winning the Super Bowl?
No. Just in the NFC East. But like,
okay.
Like literally, how do you decide that? I mean, like, how do you even go about looking at the Eagles as they are and deciding that the Giants are going to do worse than them? Please, someone tell me logically how that. And I'm the hardest on my team than anyone else, but like that's insane to me.
I just don't see. Like, we just went over the Eagles' best strengths. They have a good offensive line, which is going to help Jalen Hurts. But we have what I would call it a Swiss cheese. And I know people look at that term and they think like, oh, it's Swiss, like you're running through Swiss cheese defense. Swiss cheese has holes, but it's also cheese. Like there's filling there. So my point with like the Swiss cheese is like, you have a Javon Hargrave, but for every Javon Hargrave that you have a TJ Edwards who ran like a 4.9 40 at the combine, like as your linebacker, no less. So
I think
there's a lot of here. I don't buy into the Eagles. I buy into Hurts long term. I think Hurts can succeed, but I don't know. I buy into Hurts long term, not necessarily the Eagles, because I feel like they're going to screw up his career. And I feel like he's going to go somewhere else and he's going to have a resurgence or something like that. I'm very worried about Jalen Hurts' development in Philly. He's going to have to be fixed at some point the way they're trending. And I'll be honest with you. If you don't draft a receiver, like Reagor did not give me any confidence last year. I mean, he gave me confidence that he wasn't the right pick. I mean, Justin Jefferson. I
imagine. Wow, way to blow it, guys. I think that so. There's first of all, I will.
Fulgham was cut 10 times, by the way. So I like Fulgham, but like let's be real. He's your number one receiver.
Let's take it seriously. One, I will laugh hysterically if they take a quarterback. Like if they were to manage to do that right here, I would actually laugh. I think the most realistic options are taking a wide receiver, but that's assuming that one of those top guys falls. And then could they take a cornerback? Like I could see Horn going there maybe. But I think anything else is a little outlandish. But they have a lot of gaps.
I could see that.
There's a lot to fill.
I just don't like why is Kevin Seymour your nickel? Why is he starting?
Why? Tell us.
Okay, so I could see the Eagles going corner. At this point, JC Horn's there. They probably will. But, I mean, I don't I know this might seem a little weird and early, but like at 12, I wouldn't like crucify you if you took Rashad Bateman.
Yeah,
get the jump on everybody, you know, because Bateman is going to go, and then you're going to start to see a run on receivers. Once Bateman is off the board, Rondale Moore will be gone, and Terrace Marshall, and Kadarius Toney, and like that's going to happen. And I feel like it's best to draft him maybe 3 picks earlier than you would have gotten him, than not get him. And I feel like getting a guy like that, he's instantly your number 1 receiver. I think that would make a lot of sense. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to say they go with Horn. I feel like that's something they would do.
Yeah, I agree. I don't.
And then they move Maddox to slot corner.
And then here we go again. It starts getting messy once again.
So
we traded Chargers, right?
So we did do the trade.
Yeah, let's accept the trade. So who would the Panthers take now that they're back?
So I'm going to say we're assuming that Slater and Darrisaw are off the board.
So do they go for whatever the hell his name? Why is it AVT, right? I always mess it up. I want to say ATV, I think, because of like the
yes.
Yes. That's why
AVT.
I want to yeah.
So AVT is great for them, and here's why. 1, he can play left tackle if they need him to. 2, he can play guard. Like, this guy is the best interior offensive line prospect, in my opinion. But the thing about Vera Tucker for me is that I think he's the second best offensive lineman in this draft. I have him ahead of Slater. I have him ahead of Darrisaw. He's behind Sewell because Sewell is like, he's like that, the kid trying to get that thing on the top shelf. Like, you don't touch that. Like, that's Sewell up there for me. So with Elijah Vera Tucker, I just feel like you have the ability now. You can kick Greg Little to the curb. You can have him at left tackle.
He's got to go.
Or if you love Greg Little and you can't part with him, you can put him in place for, I don't know, Elfline or Dennis Daly, and there you go. There's your, then you can go in the second round and grab like an Eichenberg, or you could grab Mayfield. Yeah, I like him too.
I also like what's his name?
I like Jackson
Sam from
Sam Cosmi. Yes,
that's who I took in my mock. I had the Giants take Waddle and then him in the second.
Cosmi could go in the first,
but he won't.
He might, because of the testing. I feel like a team will be like, "Oh my God, the numbers!" and they'll just lose it.
They're gonna channel their inner Gettleman and be like, "Hog Molly." Yeah, I know. I feel that. I need a hog Molly now. I don't know, but I hope that he falls though, because my idea was like the Giants take a wide receiver, secure your offense, and then you drop and you take another. But we'll see how it goes. I don't know. So
is Mac Jones still existing?
I forget. No, he's still here.
Yes, right? He is. So the who New England would be here?
Yeah. Well, we have Vikings, right?
Who's at 15? Oh, Vikings. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun here. Okay, 14 Vikings.
Also, don't forget, the Vikings at some point need to address the fact that Kirk Cousins does at some point need to move on from football. So at some point, I think they will take a quarterback. I'm being serious. It's not going to be the first round, but I think you see the Vikings take a quarterback.
Hey, I made the argument last time you were on that they should trade up and get Trey Lance.
I mean, if Mac Jones is here and I'm the Vikings, I'm not pissed off if they take him. Whatever. It'd be a horrible placement for him.
I guess my biggest thing is the issue starts at the top, and that is Mike Zimmer. I don't know how Mike Zimmer's still the head coach. I really don't. I think
it's tackle here too. A lot of teams need to take an alignment, huh?
Wow. Rashad Hill is their left tackle right now. Brian O'Neill, Rashad Hill, Ezra Cleveland, Garrett Bradbury's good, and Dakota Dozier.
All the Vikings fans think that Slater is slipping to them, which is hilarious to me.
That's really funny. That's not
Slater
happening.
Slips to 14, that's a damn steal, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'm not as high on Slater as you are, but I'm still high on him.
Right.
Dakota Dozier can't be your left guard.
Yeah, you need to address that, I think.
Rashad Hill can't be your left tackle.
What a horrible scenario. Like, do you care about the left side or no? Like, we just don't care at this point.
No, you know what I just realized? Every Vikings fan is pissed again. No, is pissed because here's what just happened, essentially. So we gave the Panthers Elijah Vera Tucker. He would have been perfect for them.
Oh, yeah.
So they're sitting there like, do you trade down? Do you reach on Jenkins or Ray Dunes or Cosme? I mean, I think it'd be giving him too much credit to pick a Cosme.
Or wait, hold on. Something that would be very spicy is, does Washington football team see Mac Jones still there and they want to trade up and then they snipe him from the Patriots? That would be badass, to be honest.
You know who's going to do this? Chicago.
Oh my God, yes.
Chicago doesn't have a first round pick, I don't think. Oh no, they do. They have the 20th.
They do.
Pick.
What do they have? Like 20, 21?
Yeah, so you just throw next year's second round pick and
you're screwed anyways, as the Bears.
Yeah. I mean, poor Mac Jones. He'd be going with Matt Nagy.
I don't want him there.
I wouldn't want him there either, but I'm just saying I could definitely see it. They're playing this whole Andy Dalton
trade
thing
somehow at this point in the draft. There's going to be like another one in this little like group here, I think.
I think the Bears makes a lot of sense because, I think they have to know New England is, lurking,
sure. Right.
My thing is, I'll say this. I don't think New England cares that much about Mac Jones. I think they want Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the type of guy that they want. And if they don't get him, they will happily wait because New England isn't going to press. They'll try, but they're not going to like I could never see Bill Belichick being like, oh, yeah, you know what? I'll give you that extra pick that you really want. Like, no, Bill Belichick will hang up the phone.
And let's be clear, like we can give Fitzmagic all the pats in the back that you want. But if I want a rookie QB to train behind someone, I'd rather it be Cam Newton. I don't think that Fitzpatrick has the track record. And I'm not doubting, I love Fitz. I love it. But let's call it how it is. The guy has not played 16 games since 2015. That's not, at least Cam Newton has a little bit more of a starting, he has that in him. And I think that keeping Cam was very much to bring on another quarterback, in my opinion.
Well, and, teams oftentimes, they'll tell you what they're doing without actually saying it. They'll just do it with their actions. What if bringing Cam was showing you that they want a guy like Cam? And I think the guy closest to that structure of play is Trey Lance.
Absolutely.
I think it's the perfect fit. And I think people would stop dogging them for going out and getting Aguilar and getting Kendrick Bourne and their tight ends. Because I think Trey Lance would have the job won by the end of preseason.
100%. Trey Lance is someone, he's to me the same. I mean, I feel a little bit more strongly. I think Wilson could get by starting week 1. I think Trey Lance definitely needs to sit. He in the beginning for sure. I feel more confidently about that. But I think by the end of this, there's no reason why he couldn't be starting. Yeah,
I mean, I think any of these quarterbacks are, they have the potential to start. It's a matter of starting and succeeding, you could throw any of them in the fire, but what are they going to do with it? And so, 15, I think the Bears straight up. I think the Patriots are probably sitting there you saw that thing with at the pro day, Belichick made that face when Mac Jones overthrew the guy, and he's just
yeah.
So what if the Patriots are just pushing this all of these we talked about earlier, kind of comes full circle when you're things get out that people want that they want everyone else to know it's strategic. Right. Bill Belichick is the king of that. So who's to say the Patriots aren't being yeah, we just want Trey Lance, but we're going to push all this, Mac Jones nonsense. That way teams start jumping ahead of them so they can just basically have a little laugh in their wardrobe.
Belichick, I think just because Brady won a Super Bowl, everyone's like, and I know we're going off topic, but we're gonna end up on this for 3 hours. But
yep.
he knows what he's doing.
Whatever you're about to say.
Everything is so planned out. It's Bill Belichick.
Exactly.
One of the best one of my calls before, I said there last season, this is before the draft happened. I go, there's two people that are way too quiet. It's Billy B, and Cam Newton. And I said, I'm going to find the tweet because this is before, I had 7 followers. I said, watch Cam Newton go to the Patriots because they're too quiet. When Billy B is quiet, everyone should be scared. Something is happening. It wasn't that scary of a move, but I think that, Bill, I don't think it was a bad move for the franchise. Everyone forgets too. It's not like they won 4 games. The team's still with nothing. What?
With 10 COVID opt-outs, injuries.
Did they win 10 games?
No. I think they won 7.
7? Okay, I'm giving them a little bit more credit, but still, it's not nothing.
And I'll give Cam Newton credit where credit's deserved. He looked fine until he had COVID. He came back. He wasn't the same quarterback.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you have those opt-outs and then that happening. I think that all puts that on. But then number 16, the Cardinals. I feel like the Cardinals are just in that mode because keep in mind, the day you came on, JJ Watt went to the Cardinals. It was that flashiness, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they're all about flash right now. That's their mentality. They're like, oh, we're going to go out and get James Conner because you guys remember when James Conner was really good earlier, in his career with the Steelers. And we're going to go out and get AJ Green and just hope that he somehow becomes a star again. And we're going to go out and get JJ Watt. And I'm like, so this seems like this could be a flashy pick. And I think that would lead me to believe it would be a JOK, a Jalen Phillips, I could see something like that. Where are you going? If you're the Cardinals, because no one can change my mind. I still don't think, no matter how much they push, I don't think they're there yet. I think they're a little further back. I understand what they're trying to do, but I just don't think they're at that level yet. They have some good talent, but
I don't know what they're doing. I think that they're this team that enjoys being good and not great. Every move that they make, it's I always say, I don't ever I would never want my team to rebuild the way that the Cardinals have. Because it's just being in between good and great year after year after year, and then not you don't want to move past that. And it's kind of where we've seen the Seahawks for a while. They were great. And then now they float in this good, great realm where, we're playing the Cardinals. It's very scary. Cool. But it's not that big of a deal. So I don't know what they do here. People have rumored that they take a tight end. I think any tight end outside of Pitts at this point would be a little too much. It's a little too rich for me.
Yeah,
they could maybe
Freiermuth here. That'd be way too early. Okay,
that's really early.
You know what? I think I mentioned it earlier with the flashiness. It would be a trend if they did that. They traded up and they got Kyle Pitts.
I've thought about that. It's either that or what else do they do? Do they take if they were to take a wide receiver, then they're kind of reaching on a wide receiver because everyone that's prolific is gone.
They could take Bateman. They could take Tony. They could take Rondale. They could take, I think Marshall is legit.
Or they get weird with it and do an edge. Do they go Jalen Phillips?
Well, that's what I was thinking. They could go Phillips. I think he's the best pass rusher. Him or Parsons. I can't decide one or two. But looking at their team, you have Chandler Jones, you have JJ Watt, and then it's Zach Allen.
I kind of love them taking a Jalen Phillips here, I think.
Well, they do have Marcus.
Wait, who the hell is the tight end over there? Why am I not even remembering? That's bad.
The tight end?
I love tight ends. If I can't name the tight end of your team, there's a damn problem. Who the hell?
I'll tell you, this guy was once the #1 tight end in his draft back in like 2016. Max Williams.
Oh, I went to school with a guy named Max Williams, actually. It was not him, but.
Wait, wasn't he? He's Minnesota, right?
Listen, I honestly don't even think I've heard that name. Maybe since he
2015.
Entered. Oh, they're taking a tight end. Done. It's signed, sealed, delivered. They're going to try to either trade up and get Pitts, or they're going to reach and get a tight end.
So you don't think that Daryl Daniels and Ian Bunting are going to...
Wait, they have to take a tight end. That would be crazy.
Yeah, Ian Bunting is a California...
I didn't realize how... No wonder they're just good. Like, this is your problem. You need a fire tight end in this league. You can't. What a shame on the Cardinals. I'm annoyed with Clifford's Kingsbury. That's what I call him now because of the footballers.
Well, it's Steve Keim, so
yeah, it's true. We're not working.
Daryl Daniels is literally been waived by the Cardinals. I'm counting here. Daryl Daniels has been waived by the Cardinals 5 times.
Oh wait. Yeah, no. I feel like it would actually be shocking to me if they don't. But then they could also go cornerback too. It wouldn't be like entirely impossible. They have a few ways that they could go with this.
They got Malcolm Butler, but like Robert Alford, I could definitely see them replacing him.
Yeah, I think edge or a tight. I think tight end is actually a better move for them here.
Trading up, I don't necessarily agree with, but they should be the favorite to get Freiermuth.
Yeah.
And then
take though, because I don't know that I've seen that anywhere.
17 is the Raiders, and
the Raiders are screwed. Like, it does not matter what the Raiders do here. Like, if they don't address do they know they don't have an O-line, or are we just pretending that that's not a problem?
Oh, all of a sudden their O-line is not that horrible. So I think grab a guard and a tackle. You have Colton Miller. I mean, I'm not as high on him, but they are.
Yeah.
Left tackle. You have Richie Incognito, who, again, I don't love long-term, but he's a plug-and-play veteran. Yeah. And then you have Nick Martin, who's a pretty good signing from Houston, center. And then you have Denzel Good as your right guard, and Brandon Parker, who's a 3rd rounder in 2018.
Go back to the Denzel Good part when you laughed. Like, that's my favorite part.
Denzel Good. I don't know. I think it's just the name, especially because there's no E at the end, so it's just good.
Honestly, if I'm the Raiders, I might trade down at this point and get a little bit more capital and just like go for. I mean,
you know what they're gonna do? They're going to ride out Brandon Parker at right tackle.
Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm.
And that's a horrible decision.
Absolutely.
I know he's a 3rd round pick in 2018, but he was a raw project from NCANT. Like, I didn't even like I said, I didn't even like the Colton Miller pick. They added Yannick Ngakoue, so I've been seeing a lot of people having them getting a pass rusher. I don't know if they'll do that because they have Farrell, they have Ngakoue and Max Crosby.
What if Parsons falls, though?
I think we've already selected Parsons and JOK.
Fine. Yeah, at this point, Parsons going to 17 teams.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, their defense has some things that I like. I love Corey Littleton, Nick Kwiatkowski, Ngakoue, Crosby. They added Solomon Thomas, Quentin Jefferson. I like a lot. They still have Hankins.
It'd be a very Raiders move to take Farley.
They got Carl Jones. Ooh, that I can literally hear Mike Mayock talking about Caleb Farley. Like I
said it.
This Caleb Farley guy is
this guy, yeah.
I do miss him, like announcing like the what was it, the combine?
I agree. But I could see it happen. I don't know.
I mean, they have Trayvon Mullen, who I know they like, Damon Arnett, and Amik Robertson. I like those three. They added Carl Joseph back, which was very odd. But he's a really good player, so I mean, I get that. Jonathan Abram. Their defense is far from the issue.
I think that's why. But then, so does Elijah Vera Tucker go here?
No, he remember he went off the board.
He's gone.
Panthers.
So now what? So this is where we start getting into this reaching category. Where people...
So I mean, depending on how the draft goes, I mean, you could see a tackle that they want to move in at guard, or how about this? I think this could be the time. This is probably the ceiling he'll go. Tevin Jenkins. Because then you move Brandon Parker inside at guard, and that's not actually a horrible idea.
And it's crazy.
I can roll with Brandon Parker at guard. I can't roll with Denzel Good at guard.
I agree. Like, he doesn't even really deserve that name at this point. Like, the fact that your last name is Good, give me a damn break. But I think Jenkins, they also could go safety here. It just would be a little high, but it's too high, I think.
This is funny. Someone commented, Incognito is still playing. I mean, he has been the league really fair, like, for years.
Oh, my God.
But, yeah, jeez.
All right, I'm over the Raiders. Let's get to the next one because I just can't with them. Yeah. I don't care what they do. They're not going to be, like, they're fine. Like,
we got the Dolphins again. I kind of feel like they go linebacker here. Could see Zaven Collins from Tulsa. Makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Bigger. They did get Bernardrick McKinney.
I feel like I just don't. The Dolphins are another team that I just don't know what to expect out of them.
I mean, the Dolphins are that team. If Tua plays well, they're going to win a lot of games. They're a really good looking team on paper.
So what do you care about more? Like, how do you get him to that level kind of thing?
What is Tua?
Yeah, like how do you? I mean, so what do we think? Like that they would take a running back first.
Well, we had them getting Chase, I think.
That's true.
So he has Chase, he has DeVonta Parker, he has Will Fuller. All of a sudden, he's got 3 good receivers in Parker, Chase, and Fuller because Will Fuller signed there.
Right. I just don't. That was dumb to me because I don't think that Tua has proven to you that will be a useful movement, but that's fine. What about an edge here? Did they do that?
Well, that they could go with that. Getting rid of Van Noy was interesting to me. Getting Bernardrick McKinney was huge. Jerome Baker, I don't know what they feel about him. Andrew Van Ginkel has a funny name, but he's good.
His last name should be good. Let's trade their last names.
Van Ginkel. Sam Iguavoen. Yeah, get him a linebacker stat.
Shit. Yeah, so I don't know. I think they could go edge here. I think it could be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely could. I don't really see pass rushers on there.
Yeah, I guess that's like me assuming that like Phillips is still there, which we already had him going. So like if someone like that was still available, I don't hate that.
But yeah, I mean,
they need a running back. Like you guys got to do it. You need to get a running back. I think. I really
don't think they will. I think they'll go running back by committee because they have they just signed Malcolm Brown and they gave keep in mind his contract is interesting. Because it has a max cap out of like $7 million. So, why would he have an incentive base that high when he's been a backup in LA all this time?
Yeah.
And now you're giving him that. He is probably going to be the go-to guy, but he's going to be taking, he's obviously going to be sharing the carries with Salvin, Ahmad, and
I think people are very hard on him. I think that he has potential. Yeah,
I don't know why the Niners gave up on him.
Yeah, I think he's I think you see him like he's one of my guys like that. I think like I'm like stashing him in leagues because I think that he has definitely potential.
They low-key added Jordan Scarlett. I didn't even know that.
Who?
Jordan Scarlett.
Oh,
he was the
yeah.
Florida running back.
That's right.
You know who's still available? I'm pretty sure Jerick McKinnon. I just realized that. I mean, Todd Gurley's still available. Adrian Peterson, Le'Veon Bell.
If Todd Gurley was smart, he would just like I would retire if I was him.
I feel for him.
I feel bad. It sucks, but this is what I mean when I say like coming into the league with an ACL or injury is like just not pretty. Like
no,
because then if it happens again, it's like you're asking for arthritis as a bigger bodied dude.
They added Justin Coleman to their secondary. They're okay. Yeah, get him a pass rusher. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Russo went here.
I literally forgot about him.
I know, like, everyone has him, like, mocking out in the second round, but this is a guy that was going top 5 in preseason mock drafts.
And this is how Twitter goes.
Well, and I think a lot of the times a guy that opted out gets penalized. So it doesn't always happen, but, like, Russo, I feel like, is getting penalized for opting out.
I agree. I think a bunch of these guys do, though. Like they take hits on the fact that you didn't see as much of them, and that's why it's a weird year. Because some of these guys, like, yeah, we haven't seen a lot of film on. There's not a lot of film for them.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. So all right, okay, so let's give him Russo, and then Washington. What the hell are we doing with Washington? They have like no needs except for, like, you could argue obviously quarterback, but like their team is looking really good. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I mean, okay,
they definitely don't need a wide receiver. That's for damn sure.
Okay, you know what? I'll say linebacker. You know what? Sure. This is Jamin Davis territory.
Okay.
Because I think, like, I thought he would be like a value pick at one point. Like, I thought when I got in on him, I was like, oh, he'll go in like the third or the second. Now, like, everyone's having him in the first. So I think Jamin Davis, I mean, look, they have Khaleke Hudson, John Bostic, David Mayo, who we've talked about.
What's the one from Notre Dame? Jeremiah
Owusu Koromoa. That was JOK.
It feels. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He's long gone. We put him on like 8 teams.
That's
no, I'm kidding.
Okay.
No, but I look at linebackers and I'm like, what do you have here? Cole Holcomb. I mean, athlete, but like he hasn't been amazing. John Bostic, Khaleke Hudson, he's all right. David Mayo. I mean, you told me you didn't want David Mayo, so I don't think David Mayo's that great. Josh Harvey Clemens. The legend of Josh Harvey Clemens, the 6'6" safety.
Boy.
So yeah, I'm giving him a linebacker, I would say. And I think Jamin Davis, having a guy that can be around the ball as much as he is, a playmaker. He's a hybrid, in my opinion, of Corey Littleton and Zach Cunningham, but he's a freak athlete. He ran way faster than both of those guys. I think he ran like a 4.4. So, I mean, he blew up the pro day. So I'm looking at what they have here. You add Jamin Davis to a defense that has Chase Young that can get the ball, you know, that he could tear the ball out. Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat. Man, Washington just got a lot better.
Yeah.
Because I think their only issue is linebacker from what I'm seeing here.
Absolutely. I don't disagree. And then we run into an actual shit show, which is the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Bears. Well,
I have nothing good to say about this team. They could do, like, they could go cornerback. They could take a tackle here. You could see Sam. You could see that guy Sam that I love from like. You could see someone like that go.
Oh, who did we give to the Patriots, by the way?
Didn't we give him a quarterback or no?
No, we had the Bears trade up.
Oh, yeah. So the Bears took a quarterback? So now we're at the Patriots?
Yeah, now now we're at the Patriots because the Bears trade up for Mac Jones in our scenario.
I think you take a wide receiver here. Why not? Take Rashad Bateman. Forget about it.
I think Bateman's already gone.
I know, but he's not gone in our hypothetical drafts.
We have all these alternate realities.
Yeah, there's so many ways to go. I don't know. I think
my Marvel fans out there, the multiverse. We are in the multiverse. We have Rashad Bateman going to like 8 different teams.
Yeah, it just depends. Like at what point you started listening to the stream. Like you know who is going where. It just like it all depends on when you started listening.
You know what? I think their offense is looking pretty good, but what I'll say is that I think they could use an interior defensive lineman.
Yeah.
I think Christian Barmore would be a nice piece. I wouldn't pick him here. I think there's not a defensive lineman I would pick this early.
If Billy B trades down again, I swear to God, this mother effer.
Honestly,
he wants to build capital.
You know what? I could see them doing.
What?
Okay. So this is something the Patriots would do. They like random like fast corners. What if they got Eric Stokes? Like the way he just blew up his pro day. I could see them doing the most like bizarre move where they draft Eric Stokes here and everyone's just like, what? Oh wait, no. They're not going to draft him. You know
Campbell?
why?
I thought I saw them taking what's that guy Campbell, right? From Georgia?
No. They're going to draft what's his name? Newsome. Duh.
Oh, yeah.
From Northwestern. Easy. That's a perfect fit.
Done. Easy. That one's done for sure.
That's such a Patriot. Oh my God, if there ever was one.
He is a Patriot.
Like he's such a Patriot. Like if he goes to another team, I won't accept it.
Oh, now the Colts.
All right, the Colts here, very simple. They have to protect Carson Wentz. And so at left tackle, Costanzo is retired. You have to protect Carson Wentz. So how are you going to do that? You have no left tackle. Like they just added 2 guys who are clearly not going to start at left tackle. They got Sam Tevy. So no. And Julian Davenport, who was raw when they drafted him, and I think in the 2017 draft, he's still raw. So like that's not happening.
You know who is very much like Costanza is Cosme. So I know I've given him to 25 teams, but I would like to give him here. Like now I want to now I retract all the picks I did. I think that Samuel would be perfect here.
I think Cosme, or I think they go with Ray Dunes.
That's not
because
bad.
Jenkins is already gone, right?
That's true.
In one of our multiverse,
Yeah, it depends which universe we're like talking about, but
okay. So yeah, so I like Cosme. I'll sign off on that.
Sure.
You get an athletic left tackle.
Who the hell do we have next?
I mean, and look, the Colts, like Carson Wentz would literally have no excuse. He would have Samuel Cosme, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Mark Lewinsky, and Braden Smith.
Oh my God, I can't wait for him to blow it. It's like my dream almost.
You don't like Carson Wentz?
I don't like Carson Wentz.
I think he's going to blow up in Indy personally.
I hope that is the case. But when I end up being possibly right with the 5% chance, I am going to tear Twitter to the ground.
Oh, boy. So
Jags. I'm not touching the Jags here. I don't know. These next few picks, I don't really know.
Well, you have the Jags here. I have the Titans.
Oh, is it? Did I skip one? Oh, I skipped a bunch. That's why. I see. I zoomed in too far. Yeah, the Titans.
Okay, so
Titans, Jets, Steelers. Yeah.
The Titans still have a good roster. I don't know why everyone's just like soured on the Titans.
They're always sour on the Titans because the Titans are one of those teams that people like forget about. Like,
All right, we need to get him a receiver, though. I mean, it's A.J. Brown and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine.
Right. Let's see. What were my options?
Rashard Davis, Cameron Batson.
Bateman? Here.
Bateman's gone.
Ah, shit.
All right. No, how about Terrace Marshall?
Oh, that's not a bad option. It feels very Titan-y, too.
I always felt okay. So like when I saw Terrace Marshall first come up like on Twitter and everyone was talking about him going in the first round, I was like, oh, because he's an LSU receiver and like sure. And then I watched him and I'm like, he's not better than Chase, but he's number 5 on my list. I'm really a big fan of him. And honestly, in some cases, like his body type is actually, I like his body type more than I like Chase's because he's 6'4", 200. Chase is 6'1". So you add that with A.J. Brown, but now you have a 6'4" guy that can go up and high point the football. I like Marshall there.
I can't argue with that by any means.
And I think they might think they have a deep threat in Josh Reynolds, but we'll see about that. Next up, the Jets
again.
And we gave them Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Where did I feel like there's no way that Robert Saleh is going to have 2 first-round picks being the defensive mind he is and not go defense with any of them. So, I mean, I'd have to imagine, like, I know, like, Bless Austin, I think, is solid, but I don't necessarily think I would start him. Same with Javelin Guidry, Corey Ballantyne, Kyron Brown, Justin Hardy. Like, these guys are solid, but, like, Bryce Hall is the only corner on this roster that I feel comfortable with long term. So, with that said, I probably am looking at a corner for the Jets or a trade down since corner's starting to get a little weird.
But is Najee Harris gone?
No, he's not. That's a good spot for him. It would be Eric Stokes or Najee Harris.
Like Frank Gore, come on. I mean, we need a little more action than that.
I like LaMichael Pirine and I like Ty Johnson. And they added Tevin Coleman. But I hear you. Man.
I don't know. This is where, again, it starts to get hairy again, these next few picks. Like, who's up next? The Steelers? I don't want to touch that. You, by all means, are... But then, if they don't take a running back, the Steelers have to, right?
I think the Steelers... Oh, because Tevin Jenkins is off the board, and that's who everyone has them getting. Oh, I'm going to give him Dylan Ray-Dunes.
Okay.
Not the Jets. Well, hold on a second.
Hold up.
Their offensive line is atrocious.
True.
So, what if this was the reach of the interior offensive line and they went after Creed Humphrey?
It wouldn't surprise me.
I think they need to go corner or they need to go running back.
Okay.
But I almost feel like corner's more of a need because I think you can get away with LaMichael Pirine if you build up that offensive line.
Yeah.
But then I keep going back to the offensive line.
Accept the fact that your offense sucks and then you maybe just like build on what you have left at this point,
Yeah. I think Stokes could get in the first round. I think his pro day is really going to push him.
I have to look at it. I'm going to write it down. I haven't looked at his stuff.
I'm going to give him Stokes.
Okay. So where do we go with this next Jags pick? Because they're in a good position still.
So we gave the Steelers Ray-Dunes.
Right.
And then the Jaguars. Ooh, what are the Jaguars going to do? I mean, it's weird. They don't look that bad on paper either.
Well, the next couple teams don't. But a few of them have actual, you can see what the issue is.
Oh, they're going to draft interior defensive line.
Okay.
Taven Bryant is not working. Jahad Ward, they just signed, but come on. Actually, no, they signed Malcolm Brown. I don't know. Their defensive line guy, I believe, he's from Alabama, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and get Barmore.
I actually probably couldn't argue that. I'm trying to look at the Browns roster.
Like, they have Cam Robinson and Jawan Taylor, so tackle to me is off the board. I'm not sold on Tyler Eifert being a starting tight end at this point in his career, but, you know. They're a team at the beginning of the second round. They will probably be a huge fit for Pat Freiermuth.
That's true.
Their wide receivers are good. You have DJ Chark, Marvin Jones, and Laviska Shenault.
Yeah.
And you have Colin Johnson as well, who's a freak. And they added Philip Dorsett and Jamal Agnew as well. Jeez. You know what? I could see. Well, no, they added Rayshawn Jenkins in free agency.
I'm trying to look at their damn roster.
They don't have like a ton of. No, you know what they'll do? They'll grab a linebacker. And since I think we already gave Zaven Collins to the Dolphins.
Could they take like another tackle, you think? Like a Leatherwood?
No.
Okay.
They're pretty good there.
Okay.
I think it's too early for Wyatt Davis, but he would be next in line, I think, at interior.
Well, good for them for being in such a good spot.
You know what? They'd probably take like Baron Browning.
I can see that.
Yeah, I think that's what they would do. And then the Bills at 26 are absolutely going to take Azeez Ojulari.
I've got nothing to say. It's not a bad move.
I feel like I know they're probably like pissed because like Eric Stokes is gone, and that's like so what like they would do. No, you know what? There was an interesting like comment that Brandon Beane made in an interview, and he said with their pick, they're looking at more long term rather than short term. So if that's the case, Jason Oweh is probably like the biggest boomer bust because he ran like a 4.3 or whatever. He's super athlete, but I still feel like he's such a project.
And you can still kind of afford it here too. Like,
and you're the Bills, like you were in the AFC title game.
Yeah, I agree.
So I could see that. We already gave, so everyone's off the, well, Kwity Paye is also there. Could see them doing that. I'm not high on him. I will just say that right now. I don't see it on him. I don't see it like everyone else sees it. Jason Oweh though seems like such a Bills pick.
It does feel very Billsy.
Like he's developmental. They've been doing this. Like I could definitely see it.
Yeah, I mean there's
I'm sorry. The Browns are picking at 26. I'm losing my mind.
Oh, yeah. The Browns, yeah.
We're going to give away to the Bills at 30 because there's no way he'll go before that. But the Browns at 26.
I like them taking a linebacker is the issue.
Are we sure the Browns aren't going to make it to the AFC title game?
Oh, no, I'm sure they're like, I don't know why they wouldn't.
Like their team. I'm looking at their team right now. I'm like,
it's between no wonder them why and the Ravens. Like everything else, I don't like really want to have a discussion. I think that the Browns have the best chance for sure.
There's not a hole in their roster from what I'm seeing here. You want to hear something funny? This is hilarious. The Bills. I can't tell if they drafted him. The Bills traded Wyatt Teller to the Browns, and Teller ended up becoming like a Pro Bowler. He was like a 5th round guard.
Wow.
He ended up becoming a Pro Bowler when he went to the Browns.
That's actually hilarious.
It's so funny because now Jedrick Wills, Joel Bitonio, J.C. Treader, Wyatt Teller, and Jack Conklin. That's the best offensive line in football.
Done. Yeah, no, it is.
Like, signed, sealed, delivered, done.
There's nothing to even talk about.
You have Odell, Jarvis, Peoples-Jones, Higgins. Hodge, and then Harrison Bryant, David. What the hell is happening with David Njoku? Like, are they gonna like figure that out, or? And then Austin Hooper, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Jeez, their offense is loaded. I don't even know what they would do. They also signed Anthony Walker, by the way, and Jadeveon Clowney. So, like...
Oh, I forgot about that.
I mean, I don't love Jacob Phillips, but they spent a third-round pick on him last year. Sion Taki has been pretty good for them. Jordan Elliott, third-rounder in 2020. Andrew Billings. Well, this is a team you're looking at right now. They could go out and they could seemingly get a project guy, because
it's true.
Actually, hold on a second. Yeah, I mean, they don't really have needs. They filled everything.
I mean, that's why they're so far in this draft. Like, you know, like you look at the next couple teams. That's why they are where they are in this draft.
I mean,
because they've got full rosters. Like,
I mean, Higgins and Peoples-Jones, I like, but like, how do you not just take Rondale Moore or Kadarius Toney just because you can?
It's true.
So then you have OBJ, Jarvis, and then you have a speedster in either Kadarius or Rondale.
So I love Toney to the Ravens is my thing.
Okay. Well,
but
Rondale Moore.
I can accept it for the simulation that we're having. I can accept the Toney there.
I mean, we could do Rondale Moore there.
Either or. Yeah, it's true.
Or what else could they do?
I don't love the tight end situation over there, but everyone else you wait till the second to get. Like, it's not worth.
Well, Hooper's pretty good.
You just don't love him.
And then Harrison Bryant, they really like. They have Ronnie Harrison as their third. They have Sheldrick Redwine as their fourth safety.
Oh, God.
They're so loaded. Like, Mac Wilson is their backup linebacker.
Teams would cry for that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a team out there right now that would kill for him to be the starter.
Kill. Yeah.
They have Curtis Weaver who they took off of waivers. Oh, boy. Joe Jackson. They took him from Dallas.
Yeah.
I could see them going interior defensive line. Jordan Elliott, yes, but Andrew Billings is, I think he's solid, but they could, my God, if they got the number one interior defensive lineman in this draft, that would be kind of unfair.
It would be unfair. I hate this. I'm so over this team now because now I'm pissed off that their roster looks like this. Like, I didn't realize it was like this.
I don't know how to say his last name, but what about Levi O from Washington?
Yeah. That's not a bad choice at all.
He fits their defensive scheme.
Yeah.
I think
that's a solid choice for sure.
Levi Onwuzurike.
Yeah, I'm not going to try. That's for sure.
Onwuzurike or Riki. I don't know. We'll give him that. And then the Ravens.
I think they take a wide receiver. It'd be shocking to me.
So you have them getting Kadarius Toney?
I don't know. But everyone knows I'm a big Benjamin Victor girl. So, can they squeeze something out of him and then maybe, but I think they kind of need another tight end. And I know that sounds dramatic, but I think you wait to do that because you need some kind of backup there. So yeah. I think a wide receiver is really what, if you want to add a little more depth to that, you need another wide receiver there.
Yeah, I think Kadarius Toney, I could definitely go. I can be down with that.
Yeah. I mean, like
the Ravens are just gonna,
mm-hmm.
The Ravens are just gonna continue to wreak havoc in the NFL. I mean, they're very well coached, and obviously have Lamar Jackson until the end of time. So, the Saints. This is it's interesting with the Saints. There's a lot of turnover because they were like over 100 million. They were 100 million over the salary cap, and a lot's changed since the last time we spoke. Clearly, because they are under 100 million. But oh god, Andrew Dowell is one of their starting linebackers. I don't know who that is, but like that's my problem.
I was just about to do another one of the who. Like that's my Snoop Dogg. Like who? I don't know. Wait, Saints, right? Like, do they go cornerback here? Is there any way to do cornerback?
No, they'll go wide receiver. They'll get their Brandon Cooks again and Rondell Moore. Yeah, Jameis can throw the deep ball.
Yeah,
so it'll be Slant Boy, Traquan Smith. I'm talking about Michael Thomas. So Michael Thomas, aka Slant Boy, Traquan Smith, and Rondell Moore blowing up your secondary.
Okay. You know what?
Jameis Winston will be eating W's.
I hope so. Oh boy, I hope. And then Washington
I want
will
to go
realize
off.
what idiots they are. If that happens, Washington's an idiot. Just so everyone knows.
Yeah. The Packers here, I think they're furious that Rondell Moore just went off the board.
But is Elijah Moore still available or is he gone?
He's still there. I'm not as high on him as everyone.
It feels very slotty, very Packers picky. Like, I don't know. I get very Packers vibes from him is all. But you know what? Look at
I get that out of Nico Collins, but he's not a first rounder.
You could wait to get him. But I think the Packers, they're a team that I don't really trust because, like, look at their draft last year. Like, they kind of just do whatever the hell they want.
They're kind of like in the moment, right? Like they'll be like, "Oh, I really like that guy," and like they wake up from like that drunk binge, and then like, "No, I didn't actually draft him."
Like, I feel like they don't have, like, you know how, like, all the teams, like, they have their draft board and, like, whatever.
Yes.
I don't think Green Bay has one.
Green Bay's just, like, throwing darts.
Because, like, they could take a cornerback here. They could do something crazy and take a tackle. Like, I don't know what to expect out of them. I'm over it.
It's hard
They could
to
also,
know.
something I saw today that put an idea in my head is, like, does someone, like, the Patriots or the Bears try to get Jordan Love? And do some weird shit there? I don't know.
That would be weird. You're not going to trade Jordan Love, who you drafted in the first round, to your arch rival.
It's true. That's fair.
You're going to watch them starve with Andy Dalton. Be like, all right, you Andy Dalton's your QB1. All right, see you Lambeau Field. Like, you know what I mean? That's how it's going to go.
Touche. That's how I would. That's the clause talking. They would literally never do that.
Yes, exactly. Now, I don't like the Packers' offensive line. Like, I really like Elgton Jenkins. Love the pick in 2019. Obviously, David Bakhtiari is one of the best left tackles in football, but Billy Turner, Lucas Patrick, and John Runyon.
But who do we have left now? You know, we've given everyone away.
Well, I did
Leatherwood
mention
is there.
Leatherwood is there. No. Packers. This would be a typical Packers draft pick. Jalen Mayfield.
Yeah.
I could absolutely see that. Yeah, he plays right tackle. I like that.
I love that. Right. We're going right to the next one for sure.
And then that is the Bills. And then we have them getting away.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Chiefs, God. I feel like the Chiefs have like these needs and they're like, no, we want to pick a running back.
Yeah, I don't feel like they're going to do what they need to do. So, like, I don't trust anything that they even.
Like, where could they go? Like, the Chiefs,
God, let me look at this roster.
I don't love their receivers. I've said that. They're Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, like getting stopped away from not doing anything.
And you know what? At this point, too, like there's no reason to reach and get another O lineman. I feel like you just wait until like you could take someone else later on.
Well, Eichenberg, if you wanted one, that would be the guy here.
That's true.
Because Remmers is, oh my lord, Remmers and Martinez Rankin are your tackles. They they got Tooney and Blythe, Kyle Long.
That's who it is. I couldn't think of him.
So they need to focus on tackle. I just don't trust the Chiefs to draft. They never do.
They brought in what's his name from Chicago? Long.
Yeah, from retirement. He's been retired for like 2 years.
I think they just, I think the team is sturdy enough that right now you could take.
Well, they need 2 tackles in my opinion. But
yeah, so where they do round 1 and round 2. They could probably still get a decent wide receiver though in the 3rd is the thing. That's what's crazy with this with the wide. But they have a late pick, so no, not really.
All right. You know what? Like no, because they have a safety. Why do they start Daniel Sorensen? Can someone explain that to me that has knowledge about football? Because I don't get it. Like why draft Juan Thornhill in the 2nd round in 2019 and Armani Watts the 4th round in 2018 if you're going to play Daniel Sorensen? I just don't understand.
I don't have an answer for you.
Oh, you know what they're going to do? I'll tell you what they're going to do. They're going to draft another freaking running back. They're going to draft Najee Harris. They're absolutely going to. Wow. Look at this. The way this turned out, and they told us straight up that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not a bell cow because they went out and got Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy too is you're right. And you know what's crazy is I think that he would do, he would do better if he had, like, he's a clear, like, number 2. So you get a guy that can be a 1, you take the pressure off, and then you see him have more success. I also think deep down the Chiefs, I mean, we can't change what happened with the Kareem Hunt situation. It was just a horrible situation. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure deep down they're like upset that they had to let him go because like, look at what he's doing in Cleveland and look what they have with him and Chubb. And so I feel like going against that, they've seen it in person and they're like, we want that. There you go. Najee Harris and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Good luck stopping that. That'd be
with annoying. Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be a pain in the ass. That is what they're doing now. Like if he falls there, they're doing it.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I'm like,
because it's not the same type of body. Like it's a completely different body of running back. I mean, he's similar to Darrell Williams, but like Darrell Williams isn't going to stop you from.
Where, if he ends up not being the guy you thought he was, then he's not the guy you thought he was, right? It's like that's okay. Yeah. They're a team that can afford to make that move there.
I will say at 32, there's no way Tampa Bay picks at 32. They are a prime trade candidate. And who's remaining here? I mean, so
they could do a few things.
Well, Kwity Paye is still there.
Yeah, that would be edge would be definitely
Azeez Ojulari, Travis Etienne, Trayvon Moehrig.
My gut is telling me that Leatherwood is going to go in the 1st round. Like my gut just screams it for some reason, and I don't know why. Because he shouldn't.
Who could trade back into the 1st?
I mean, okay, so what's left? Maybe someone trades to get like this pick here. Like, say you're a team and you see who's left. Could you trade to get something here?
Well,
okay, let me look at Tampa because Tampa's in a good place.
The Buccaneers, they're going to replace. I know what they'll do. They'll replace Antonio Brown with Elijah Moore.
Oh God, we're screwed at that point then. We are so totally screwed.
That's what'll happen. Damn. They'll replace Antonio Brown with Elijah Moore at 32.
That's a damn nightmare for everyone.
Yeah, we did it.
Wow. Now I have to go do mock drafts. Like I'm literally gonna go do mock drafts now. Like I'm gonna like go through it all and see how I can come up with something more chaotic.
I guess there's people like, wow, Pay made it all the way at 32.
Whatever.
Let's see. Okay, let's before we end this.
Yeah.
I have to please my clientele because a lot of them are obviously Rams fans. At 57, who could they take there?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm thinking, like, it's weird. I was like, you know what? They could take a linebacker. And, like, oh, my God, like, they could take a wide receiver. Then they signed DeSean Jackson. I'm pretty convinced they're not taking a receiver now at 57.
So 57, look at who's ahead of them.
I do think, like, I know they need a center, but I don't want to draft a center at 57.
I don't know. I kind of see them taking another O lineman, but
because what I'll say, I could see Afidu Melifonwu, I could see Dylan Moses, I could see Jabril Cox if he falls, Asante Samuel Jr.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of who else. Those are the guys off the top of my head, but like there's obviously other ones I'm forgetting about. But those are the guys that I would say there's
no way that they like think about an edge.
Well, the way the draft was looking, Joe Tryon could be there. Joseph Osai. I just don't know. Are the Rams willing to wait on a guy like Osai to develop? Because he's going to be a problem if you need a guy to set the edge. He's not going to do that for you early on. He needs to really grow into that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
And Tryon, I think some people just have way too low. I think he's going to go a lot higher. Peyton Turner, because of his recent comments saying that, he does have a knee injury. It's going back to high school, but now the thing about his comments is that he's 6'5", 270, and he said that he can play outside linebacker, a 3-4 outside linebacker. He doesn't want to be relegated to just a 5 tech, which is, if that's the case, then I mean he's an option there. Quincy Roche, Boogie Basham.
So, what if they trade back?
I mean, I would 100% trade back if
I'm them. I'm trading back. I think.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know if I'd 100% do it. I think if Asante Samuel's there, that might tempt me.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's gonna fall. This is just kind of like, could he? Yes. So we'll put him there. But the problem is there's this wave of like Asante Samuel, Eric Stokes, and Afido Melifonwu. Stokes is gone. Then you have Asante and Afido Melifonwu. And it's like after that, like I'm stuck with Elijah Molden and Paulson Adebo and Trill Williams. Like
I think with the Rams, it's going to come down to like how the draft goes. And then if they're going to play it by ear at that point. I just think that they're in enough of a position where like, they're either going to take the best available or they're going to trade back and maybe get a little bit more capital.
I'm thinking they'll take the best available.
I think it's I don't know.
That's the way to go, I think. I mean, they don't see like, I feel
who the best available is the problem.
Yeah. Well, like the national media seems to believe that the Rams are like, have all these needs. I mean, you can go through their offense right now. Cooper Kupp, DeSean Jackson, Van Jefferson, Robert Woods. That's one of the best quad wide receiver groups in the league. If DeSean Jackson stays healthy, that will be the best quad receiver group in the league.
Yeah, 100%.
Then you have Tyler Higbee, who played really well a year ago. And then this past year, Jared Goff, he had an injury, but Beforehand, he had a 3-touchdown game against Philly, then gets hurt, and then Goff didn't throw to him. So you have Tyler Higbee, you have Bryson Hopkins, who was my number 1 tight end last year in the draft, Matthew Stafford, Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson, and then their offensive line, which was top 10 in the league last year, just without Austin Blythe, who they lost. They have Andrew Whitworth, David Edwards. They have Joe Noteboom, Tremaine Ankrum, Austin Corbett, who's likely going to slide in at center. And then they have Rob Havensey and Bobby Evans. So they have some guys that they're developing there. Then the defense, Ashawn Robinson, Sebastian Joseph Day, Greg Gaines, Aaron Donald. They really like Eric Banks from University of Texas, San Antonio. Right. Albani Okoronkwo. We'll see. He's kind of like he's 2018 5th rounder from Oklahoma. Has had some injury issues, but he could start. Leonard Floyd they brought back. That was huge. They have Terrell Lewis, a 3rd-round pick from last year. Micah Kaiser, Justin Hollins, Troy Reeder, Kenny Young, Traven Howard. Like, to me, that inside linebacker group just needs one more guy, and I think they'd be good. Yeah. And then they just signed Darius Williams to a franchise tender. Williams is one of the best corners in the league.
I missed that.
Yes. So, or not franchise tender, but the restricted, the restricted free agent tender. They signed him to a 1-year deal. So they'll look to probably negotiate with him. They have him. They have Ramsey. You have Jordan Fuller, Taylor Rapp, Terrell Burgess at safety. Nick Scott played really well last year. David Long is your 3rd guy. So I think they could use a corner. So a corner, I'd say. Another inside linebacker, an edge defender. They look pretty good interior defensive line, even letting go of Brockers. They could go after a guy like Darius Stills later on, but I'm looking at corner, linebacker, and then center.
Center is another one. So that's what I was going to say.
And then maybe draft, a wild card where you draft another tackle and you draft another receiver because Deshaun Jackson's older, so he's not going to be there forever.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
They're they're in a good spot though. They're one of those teams that you can't, whatever they do, it's not, I don't know that it's going to hurt them negatively is all.
I mean, they're in the thick of it, Yeah. They're one of those teams that you got to watch out for. We'll see what Raheem Morris does, the defensive coordinator. There's a lot of turnover there, so we'll see how that goes. But do you have anything else? Or
no, that's it. I mean, we almost hit. What are we hitting? 3 hours here? I'm gonna pee my pants. Is what's gonna happen. So definitely gonna jump off.
I'm going right to bed because I get up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym. So gonna be so dead.
This was a blast. We almost need to regroup. Now I'm gonna stay up and do mock drafts all night at this point.
Yeah, well, you're always welcome. You know that on Wednesdays. That's your day if you want to come on. So
yes, perfect.
All right, guys. Well, that's gonna do it. For Stephie Smalls and Jake Ellenbogen over here. Appreciate you guys for joining us. Be sure to follow Stephie. It's at Stephie Smalls with 3 L's. I remember this time. Follow me at JK Bogan DTSN. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's literally just my name, Jake Ellenbogen, all caps. And you guys have a great night. I'll be back tomorrow with Blaine Grisack to talk about the Rams entirely with the draft. All right, you guys take care. And
appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Later, guys.